parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Wednesday, March 27, 2024. The Auditor General says that the TAJ spent close to $4 million to lease two properties for nearly 3 years but failed to occupy them. And the Auditor General has cleared the Financial Services Commission of most allegations of wrongdoing leveled by a whistleblower regarding its procurement practices. Opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson says the PNP is considering court action against the House Speaker over handling of reports from the Auditor General.
We believe we are at a stalemate where there's intransigence on the part of the Speaker in terms of her interpretation of the law, and I don't know how else it is going to be resolved.
The Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, says that the PNP has consistently failed to explain how their proposal of an increase in the income tax threshold would be funded. In regional news, former U.S. President Bill Clinton pledges help to push ties between Guyana and the Dominican Republic. In international news, a ship set to be boarded after 6 presumed dead in Baltimore bridge collapse. In sports, Jamaica's Group E for the start of the 2026 CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers has now been finalized. And in business, fears of disruption to global supply chains after Baltimore bridge crash. The details after the break.
Go crazy for this offer from Flow. Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for the special price of $4,999 plus GCT. Free is all the craze. This crazy offer won't last long. Visit discoverflow.co or your nearest Flow store for more info. Conditions apply.
Know your numbers and take control. Message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Catch the first news of the day, a comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis has accused the Tax Administration, Jamaica TAJ, of spending more than $370 million on properties it had failed to occupy for nearly 3 years. That's one of the findings of an Auditor General report tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The report also found that one property in question is owned by a company of which the Member of Parliament for that constituency is a director. Shalois Michael tells us more.
The special audit was triggered after allegations that the TAJ was seeking a property to relocate its tax office in St. Mary. The allegations are that the sitting Member of Parliament, through his private company, bought a commercial building within his constituency a few meters across from the existing tax office. This office was subsequently rented to TAJ for approximately $700,000 per month. It is further alleged that at the time of the report in December 2023, the building was not yet occupied by the TAJ, although approximately 8 months' rent had been paid, and to date renovation work was yet to commence. The Auditor General in her report says the allegations were proven true. However, no evidence was presented that suggested that the MP in any way influenced the TAJ's decision to lease the property. But the probe revealed further alleged irregularities in the TAJ's procurement of real estate. On January 25, 2022, TAJ began leasing a property located on Main Street, Anato Bay, St. Mary. As of August 31, 2023, it spent a total of $15 million on lease payments. TAJ projected that the retrofitting works would cost more than $56 million. But up to the time of the report, there was no evidence that the TAJ had relocated its operations to the property. Once again, the Auditor General stresses that there were no evidence that TAJ's decision to lease was externally influenced. However, further checks from Mrs. Monroe Ellis says the TAJ did not receive written permission from the Commission of Lands before entering the lease agreement, nor did it engage the National Land Agency (NLA) to conduct a valuation. This is a requirement of the government's asset management policy. According to TAJ's management team, this requirement was not adhered to in the interest of time, as another entity was also interested in leasing the space. In yet another instance, the TAJ leased a building in Greenvale, Mandeville, which it is yet to occupy. This is despite expending nearly $357 million as of August 31, 2023. The Auditor General says despite the completion of the proposal for renovation and furnishing in June 2019 and the first lease payment in September 2020, the necessary renovation works had not yet commenced. Mrs. Monroe Ellis notes that up to August 31, 2023, the TAJ expended nearly $372 million for the properties it had yet to occupy. The Auditor General says the TAJ's standard operating procedures are not consistent with best practices of accountability and transparency and should be aligned with the relevant GOJ's policies and regulations. Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the Auditor General has cleared the Financial Services Commission of most allegations of wrongdoing leveled by a whistleblower regarding its procurement practices. However, Mrs. Monroe Ellis has raised concerns regarding the transparency of the FSC's human resource management practices. The Auditor General found that 71 positions costing in excess of $363 million per year at the FSC were not on the minister's list of established posts. However, Mrs. Monroe Ellis says she found no evidence of an intention to circumvent government policy. The FSC says its enabling legislation authorizes it to take such actions. The Auditor General also observed instances where officers were either employed, promoted without the positions being advertised, or interviewed. Although this practice is in accordance with the public service regulations, the FSC indicated that steps will be taken to amend its HR policy to address any ambiguities. Ultimately, the Auditor General recommended the FSC seek to resolve with the Ministry of Finance outstanding matters related to its establishment and recruitment practices and improve transparency in its HR processes. Opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson says the PNP is considering court action against the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Juliet Holness, over her handling of reports from the Auditor General. He is referring to her initial ruling to have reports from the Auditor General Department first sent to the Portfolio Minister before being tabled. Mr. Robinson says Mrs. Holness holds a wrong interpretation of the law. Robin Williams reports.
During Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives, Mrs. Holness walked back her prior ruling. Mrs. Holness directed that 2 reports from the Auditor General be tabled despite previously having them sent back. Mr. Robinson believes the House Speaker bowed to public pressure.
I think the Speaker and the JLP bowed to public pressure. I think there was outrage from Friday when that release went out to say that there were no outstanding reports as of Friday, and then subsequent to that, people found out that the reports were actually sent and were sent back by the Speaker. And then I think yesterday, when the Speaker released that letter to the clerk, I think that also enraged a number of people. So I think they bowed to public pressure to release it. But importantly, she has said that her opinion remains the same. And so in a month's time, when Parliament resumes and the Auditor General has other reports, we're going to be back to square one. From the opposition's perspective, we are contemplating court action. We haven't made a definitive decision on it, but we believe we are at a stalemate where there's intransigence on the part of the Speaker in terms of her interpretation of the law, and I don't know how else it is going to be resolved. So we are actively considering it, and once we make a decision, we will inform the public of that.
Mr. Robinson notes that the opinion of the Attorney General would bring clarity to the situation.
I think the Speaker, unfortunately and wrongly, continues to hold on to the opinion that the Attorney General provided on this issue, which I believe would provide some guidance to all parties, because in our view, she has wrongfully and unlawfully interpreted the provisions both of the Constitution and the FAA Act in relation to Section 30. By withholding the opinion, it means that we don't have clarity from the government's chief legal advisor, and it would help to bring clarity if that opinion was made public. And again, today, she has held to her position that she's not going to release that opinion.
Mrs. Holness says she'll meet with the Auditor General sometime this week to seek agreement going forward. Mr. Robinson is advising against any such meeting.
I'm very concerned about that. In fact, I would advise the Auditor General not to meet with her. The issue is not an issue between her and the Auditor General. The issue is her interpretation of the law, in our view, wrongful interpretation of the law. And I don't know what that meeting will accomplish. The Auditor General has made it clear that she does not believe what the Speaker has done is correct, which is why she has sent back those reports. So what is the meeting going to do?
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark has asserted that the opposition PNP has consistently failed to explain how their proposal of an increase in the income tax threshold would be funded. He described the opposition leader's position on the threshold as shifting in the wind. Dr. Clark made the comment during his closing budget presentation in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
Madam Speaker, in May 2023, the Leader of the Opposition declared that Jamaica's income tax threshold should be increased by 40% to 2.1 million. No numbers, no analysis, no costing. 4 months later, in September 2023, 4 months later, he changes his mind, flip-flop again, calling instead for a 100% increase in the income tax threshold. Again, no numbers, no analysis, no costing. Them just a wing it, Madam Speaker, unprincipled positions, shifting in the wind, flip-flop, flip-flop.
During his contribution to the budget debate last Tuesday, Mr. Golding chided the government for only raising the income tax threshold to $1.7 million. He pointed out that the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, had promised a 2.0 version of the $1.5 million threshold. Mr. Golding had called for an increase in the threshold to $3 million. Dr. Clark says Mr. Golding's call for a $3 million threshold was just a cynical ploy to get the attention of Jamaicans.
Madam Speaker, that is what happens when you have an opposition that makes a habit of unprincipled position. The expectations of them will always lead to disappointment. Because, Madam Speaker, when I explained that this move would cost over $45 billion, all you could hear was silent. Mouth zip, not a peep. The opposition leader spoke for 2 hours and not one word about how he would fund an increase in the income tax threshold that cost over $45 billion. It seems to be the case, Madam Speaker, it seemed to me and to a reasonable person that this was a cynical ploy to get the attention of Jamaicans without any idea about how to sustainably finance it. They did not even know the cost.
Dr. Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance. Member of Parliament for South Manchester Robert Chin says the Integrity Commission has given him 2 weeks to provide financial statements for companies he serves as a director. Mr. Chin attended a meeting at the Commission's office on Monday after the agency made a public notice summoning his presence. Mr. Chin says he had been in touch with the Commission over the last few months in relation to the requested financial statements. Those financial statements are still outstanding. The MP told our news centre that following Monday's meeting, he was given until next Friday, April 5, to submit the documents. The Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, says there were over 136,000 power outages by the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, in 2023. That was a 26.8% increase over the number of blackouts recorded by the OUR in 2022. Kimon Thompson has more in this report.
The OUR says the number of electricity outages by the JPS has increased incrementally over the last 5 years. It has moved from just over 51,000 in 2019 to over 136,000 in 2023. The utility regulator says the majority of the outages in 2023, 132,226, were forced outages causing unexpected service interruptions. The OUR says 4,326 were categorized as planned. Director General of the OUR, Ansord Hewitt, released the figures in his State of the Utility Sector report presented at the agency's 10th annual Director General's Stakeholders Engagement on Tuesday. Mr. Hewitt says the agency is dissatisfied with the level of service being offered by the utilities.
Am I satisfied with the performance of the utilities? The answer to that would have to be no, but it is a work in progress and we have seen improvement, but to the extent that our customer surveys, for example, continue to indicate varying levels of disaffection with the service that is provided by the different utilities. It remains a matter of concern that they are still not getting the customer issues resolved in a timely way, and in a way that gives assurance to their customers that they are being heard and treated fairly.
Hewitt says JPS suffered a financial penalty for failing to meet pre-established targets in 2022 and will likely receive another penalty when the assessment for the 2024 tariff review is complete. JPS paid some $437 million in fines in 2023. Mr. Hewitt also reported on the water and telecoms sectors and listed a range of consumer issues. These include inconsistent access to and availability of potable water, intolerable levels of water losses, frequent service disruptions, and a lack of transparency in contracts. The OUR head says utility companies must do better for the sake of improving the country's productivity.
We have seen some progress, we have seen some transformation taking place across the different sectors, but we continue to work at them because we think we can do better, and that if we're going to raise the country's overall productivity, the utilities themselves have a role to play in terms of delivering better and more efficient service and widening their coverage to make sure that all Jamaicans are able to get the utility service that they can pay for, and in some instances there will need to be some kind of public subsidy, but that's another matter.
Kimon Thompson, Nationwide News.
And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
Mommy, what are you sneaking and eating?
You catch me.
That's not the mother's Easter bun you promised me, is it?
No. Well, yes. Well, I was preparing it for you for tomorrow. And a little drop off.
You call them 2 slice liquor, Mommy?
You catch me. Shouldn't you be asleep?
With all the noise, Mommy, I need some mother's Easter bun before I go back to bed.
Winner of the 2023 King of Buns Easter Bun Contest. Mother's Easter Bun is baked to perfection.
A sub bun be nice. Can I get another slice?
Mother's Easter Bun. Grab one before them done.
More deliciousness.
More deliciousness from Mother's Bakery.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news, former U.S. President Bill Clinton has pledged to help push ties between Guyana and the Dominican Republic. Clinton was speaking at a United Caribbean Forum on Tuesday. He told Guyanese President Dr. Irfan Ali and the Dominican Republic ambassador to Guyana that he's prepared to assist the two countries in fostering relations that will benefit all of CARICOM. The former two-term Democrat president said he can help President Ali spread his plans for unity here and will use his influence in New York to make those platforms possible. Clinton said since he left office, he has spent his time trying to forge global unity and wants to see the Caribbean as a region that stands as one. He said if he or his foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, can help, he wants to help. Clinton said, if we can offer you a forum in New York during UN Week to get the message of who you are, what you stand for, and what you're trying to do, and the unity you're trying to build, we want to do that. In international news now, 6 construction workers are presumed dead after a container ship struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore on Tuesday. Rescue efforts have been called off, and investigators now hope to board the vessel to retrieve its data recorder. One of the missing has been identified as Miguel Luna, originally from El Salvador, who was working on the bridge at the time of the collision. Shannon Gilreath from the U.S. Coast Guard explained why recovery efforts were difficult for divers.
Based on the length of time that we've gone in this search, the extensive search efforts that we've put into it, the water temperature, that at this point we do not believe that we're going to find any of these individuals still alive. And so this evening at around 7:30, we are going to suspend the active search and rescue efforts. Coast Guard's not going away, none of our partners are going away, but we're just going to transition to a different phase.
Another official says the water temperature as well as debris from the bridge floating in the water also makes recovery extremely challenging. The bridge snapped and plunged into the Patapsco River on Tuesday at about 1:30 in the morning after the Dali container ship crashed into it. The vessel had lost power and issued a distress call moments before, but it was traveling too quickly to change course. President Joe Biden has said the U.S. government would cover the entire cost of rebuilding the bridge. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
The National Solid Waste Management Authority's mobile application was launched on June 5, 2020 to facilitate digital reports of littering in public spaces and illegal dumping. Since then, there have been more than 2,000 app downloads and more than 1,500 reports. Mikhail Graham, a teacher by profession, shares his experience with the app.
I believe that majority of individuals can use it regardless of age or limited knowledge of internet or technology. It was quite easy to navigate as you had the different options for you to fill in your name, email address, number, and a part for you to include what the status was like. And out of 10, generally, it would be like a 9 out of 10 in terms of user-friendly.
You can download the NSWMA app by visiting the Google Play Store or the iOS Apple Store and typing in NSWMA. A message brought to you by the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
In your morning sports report, Jamaica's Group E for the start of the 2026 CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers has now been finalized. The British Virgin Islands grabbed the fifth and last spot in the group after beating the U.S. Virgin Islands for 2 on penalties in their playoff game on Tuesday. The teams are goalless after extra time. The BVI now joins Jamaica, Guatemala, Dominica, and the Dominican Republic in the 5-team group, of which 2 will advance to the final round of qualifiers for the World Cup to be hosted by Canada and the USA. The qualifiers will begin on June 5. Edith Dalton James High maintained their 100% win record with a 1-0 triumph over Seaforth in the quarterfinal of the ISA Tip Friendly Society Schoolgirls football competition on Tuesday. The coach of Edith Dalton, Omar Taff, says the strikers needed to be more accurate in front of goal.
Olivia never scored into the 39th minute of Seaforth on the back of the ropes, just didn't put away the chances. It was a very fair game.
Omar Taff. In other results, Froome beat Old Harbour High 7-1. The Carteret College stopped Stats 1-0. Central High beat Lacovia 2-0. Excelsior hammered Hussey Marty 8-0. Homewood Technical whipped Hampton 6-0. And Garvin Messiah blanked Green Pond 7-0. St. Jago will resume on 133 for 7 on day 2 of the ISA First Global Bank Grey Shield Final against Excelsior at Sabina Park. Excelsior were bowled out for 337, with Michael Clark, DeMarcus Scott, and David Dwyer hitting half centuries. Clark made 76, Scott 65, and Dwyer 59. Vital Laws picked up 5 wickets, while Lindale Anderson and Milton LeCain took 2 each. Kingston College athletes Aaron McKenzie, Daquan Dawkins, Yehu Green, and Joshua Lewin and Ricardine Wilkins are the first recipients of the Jaden Hibbert Leaps and Bounds Foundation. The World Under-20 triple jumper launched the foundation to support the education of students at his alma mater, Kingston College. Hibbert handed over a check valued at $780,000 to the school's principal recently. Each student will receive $150,000 each to cover their tuition fees, books, and other expenses for a full academic year. Hibbert says that the establishment of his foundation represents the realization of a lifelong dream.
Today marks not just a new chapter in my athletic journey, but the birth of a vision that I always longed to see come true. A vision where students' educational aspirations are reached, a vision where a student's potential is not curtailed by lack of resources, and a vision fueled by the yearning for greatness.
Jaden Hibbert wrapping up your morning sports.
Outperform, outlast, with top performance, Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electricians. Fancy select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. In 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-611124. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
In business this morning, fears have been raised of significant disruption to global supply chains after a container ship crashed into a bridge in the U.S. city of Baltimore. The ship, named the Dali, hit a support column of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in the early hours of Tuesday morning, causing it to collapse. The bridge spanned the entrance to the Port of Baltimore, the busiest port in the U.S. for car exports and the 9th busiest overall. 6 people are missing and presumed dead. The U.S. Coast Guard has suspended its search and rescue operation and begun a recovery mission. The focus is now turning to the investigation into what went wrong with a team of transportation safety experts hoping to board the stricken ship and recover its data recorder. Officials have said the maritime traffic through the port, which last year amounted to more than 47 million tons of foreign cargo, will be suspended until further notice. Speaking to the BBC, Marco Forjon, Director General at the Institute of Export and International Trade, which represents UK businesses involved in international trade, said that the suspension would have a significant ripple effect on global supply chains. Finally, in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar has gained 6 cents and will open trading today, selling for an average $154.56 against the benchmark U.S. dollar. The Jamaican dollar has gained $1.04 and will open trading today, selling for an average $114.04 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican dollar has lost 45 cents and will open trading this morning, selling for an average $195 against the British pound. And that's it for business this morning.
For all your musical needs, visit the Music Mart, the most complete music store in Jamaica. Telephone 876-960-7712. The time brought to you by the Music Mart is
6:31.
There's a new gym on the block. Listen up, Portmore. Express Fitness is coming to the Big Buy Plaza. Get ready to sweat at our brand new location. And here's the best part. To celebrate, we're offering an unbeatable deal of only $1,000 for the first month. That's right. For only $1,000, you'll have access to state-of-the-art equipment and a community that's all about reaching your fitness goals. Don't miss out on this exclusive offer. Head down to Express Fitness at Big Buy Plaza in Portmore, where your journey to a better you begins.
Get up to $1 million off everything. With the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Price a splash, save cash, run, come catch the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Get up to $1 million off on your brand new Mitsubishi ASX or Pajero Sport with the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Plus 3 years warranty, 2 years free servicing, and 1 year free Amber Tracker. Follow us on social media at Mitsubishi JA for more info. Hurry up and come get this deal while stocks last. Only at Stewart's Automotive Group, South Camp Road, Kingston, and Iron Shorma Bay. Conditions apply.
Yes, me get the last cheese. Taste the beat. Brothers and sisters, at the end of Easter service, we have cheese. Taste the beat. But one day we get no bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Serve, sell me some bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Why, this looking nice with some tasty cheese. Taste the beat. Could I have some cheese, please? Taste the beat. Make we get on real bad with the tasty cheese, boy. Tasty beats with tasty cheese.
Hello? Yes, dear. But just a call for tell him to get the thing.
Nothing says Happy Easter like an Alliance MoneyGram money transfer.
And we get something sweet with it.
Pick up your Alliance MoneyGram money transfer of US $150 or more from March 18 to March 28th and get an Easter bun and cheese while stocks last at select locations.
Happy Easter to you too.
Remember, head to the sweetest location to pick up your MoneyGram money transfer this Easter.
Alliance!
A member of the Sagicor Group.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I got a made up mind, and I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone, and I just might fail, but love knows
Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning, this 27th day of March 2024. It's 6:37 in the morning. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Tawna Thomas. Good morning to all of you. Happy to have you in the space. Happy hump day to you. Yeah. Tomorrow is the final day of work before Jamaicans get a little Easter break.
Yes.
That's it?
Yes.
Yeah. So tomorrow is your final day of work, and you get a long weekend and return to work on what? Next Tuesday?
Yes.
Next Tuesday. Yeah. I have not yet seen bun and cheese.
But just take ask if you're buying on it. Was I thinking about bun and cheese yet? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
And I may this Easter try that bun and fish combo.
Yeah, it's a no from me.
It's still a no for you.
I have not tried it, and I'm not going to try it. No.
We've
It's
been
good.
told by
We-
George that it's great.
I hear. Oh, and then you liked it. What kind of fish you use? King?
Snapper
Snapper.
or
Okay.
parrots.
All right.
I may try it.
All right.
I may try it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the instructions, did we get the followers yesterday? We did. We absolutely did.
Paid for it.
No, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's at 8,400. Yeah. Yeah.
So you can ask for 15 more today? Sure.
Yeah, almost
Sure.
at 8,500. Yeah. But you have to go live first. No, go live now. All right. Here he goes.
That's the commitment you made.
That's the commitment you made.
That's
Each
the
time you go
commitment
live, there you go. So listeners, he's kept his end of the bargain. So 15 more followers or subscribers on YouTube. Actually, I think you should just leave it up for the remainder of the show. No?
No.
We haven't gotten that far yet. Baby steps. All right, fine. Okay, fine. Am I all of that? Tana, are you gonna come to my defense?
What did you say, Jeremy?
Mr. King says he's not doing me any favors because I'm now an outcast.
Oh gosh, red card.
Red card.
Red card. For you.
For you.
Red card for you. Yesterday?
I didn't say that yesterday.
You didn't say that yesterday.
But hey, you see one thing with Nationwide this morning, once you're out, you're out. But I still have a few hours left. But
speaking of red cards.
Wait, before we get to the red card, yes, red card.
What did you make of the finance minister's closing budget presentation?
I thought it was excellent.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
It was a solid rebuttal because Ricardo, he took so much time to. It's clear that he went back, listened to the presentation of the opposition leader in full, and though difficult, also the opposition spokesperson on finance, Julian Robinson, heard those points in their presentation where, he's describing as some deceptive statements being made or where they were inaccuracies. Pulled up those, placed them in his presentation, and then came with what he said were the facts on different aspects of the budget presentation by the opposition leader and the opposition spokesperson on finance. And one of the takeaways from me, Ricardo, is the income tax threshold, because I'd agree with the finance minister that the opposition leader has not given us an explanation as to how he would fund the $3 million increase in the threshold. I think.
Well, I'd want to amend that a little bit to say he perhaps didn't give a sufficient explanation, because he did say, to be fair to him, that what he would have done was to scrap the reverse tax. Right. So right now you can criticize it for not being sufficient, but he did attempt to give an answer.
I don't think it was it was not even close to being sufficient, because you listened to something out of the finance minister's budget presentation and just picked it up and dropped it on the Jamaican people and say, okay, work with that.
Yeah, and that I agree with, because it was clear that they had not thought out an independent funding model.
You told us $3 million. That's where you were going to put the threshold to. That's what Jamaicans were listening out to hear. How are you going to fund $3 million?
Yeah.
No, it's left for me to take away from it that you listened to the finance minister's budget presentation. You heard him say how if he raised the threshold to a particular point, how much it would cost. And you just took that and said, listen, would have preferred it was at 2.1. Use this from whatever the finance minister mentioned, and this is how it would be funded.
Right. So he would have capped. Well, based on what he said, that would have brought it up to about $2 million, I think, and then he
or 2.1.
Right,
yeah.
And then he just vaguely said phase in the rest. Right. So
phase in the rest.
Right. So he really didn't explain
and take away the tax credit, the income tax credit of $20,000 that those earning $3 million or less would be getting. Oh, that's a political ploy. To be coming with 20 grand for persons earning under 3 million. Don't want to give them that. Just use that money that you would be giving to those people and use it to fund bringing the threshold up to 2 million or 2.1 million.
I wondered when I watched Dr. Clark yesterday, I wondered if he used to debate, and perhaps I'm fairly sure he probably did in high school, because everything that we are taught about debating, you saw it on display. Find the strongest arguments you believe your opponent has made.
Yeah.
And then effectively take it down point by point by point. And I think he did that very well. And I also thought the way he wove in just the political grandstanding, which is an important part. I know people sometimes say it's gimmickry, but I think that's an important part of parliamentary craft. Yes. And I thought he intertwined that very well. So overall on substance, it was good. And then the delivery was also very good, energetic, vibrant, the right points of humor. So I thought he did well. And so it's a debate. We call it the budget debate. And obviously a debate, as I always tell my charges, is a team sport. And so when you look at it in totality, the government, they won the debate, the whole debate.
Yes.
Yeah. Mark Golding had his moment on Tuesday when he presented, but I don't think as a team the opposition got there. And you hinted at it a while ago when you talked about the opposition spokesperson, right? Sort of dropped the ball. It was very underwhelming and lackluster.
My dad, when I was home on the weekend, he used a little story to bring it all together. He said, is it Chanderpaul? I think it's Chanderpaul, the cricketer Jermaine. He said, fantastic batsman.
Right.
But if you were to depend on him alone, you'd never get to the point you're trying to reach, because him score like 1 and 2 runs. He's not a batsman that score 4s and 60s real quick and get it out the way. So he's a slow at the wicket and hold the wicket. But he says you have other batsmen now, like a Lara or a Chris Gale. As them reach the wicket, them slap it.
Yeah.
Just keep slapping it. And that was the difference.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And I hope more Jamaicans. I did see that based on the numbers, and when I was watching, I saw that a lot of people were tuned in, and I hope more Jamaicans will start to tune into the process, because it's an important process.
Yeah.
All of the politics and the the excitement about what different sectors want in the budget. It's important for the average citizen to pay attention to the process, and importantly, I don't think the debates are so complex or complicated that an average person watching it wouldn't be able to follow. So I hope more Jamaicans tune into it.
Yeah,
it's important.
And the speakers who present, they're taking more time to bring up these
explain
charts
and
break it down for you,
Yes.
so that the average Jamaican understands what they're saying. Yeah, they're coming with the TV screens and their flow charts and all of that. So
I think what both
You won't
political
leave so
parties
confused.
need to do now, and I think it was King who said it, is now to take what they have presented in these the budget debate onto the road.
yeah.
Take it to the people. For the government, all that you have announced that are positive things that need to resonate with the people, go on the road now. The 49 members, 48, one independent members of parliament, go out there, take it onto the road. And the opposition, your words,
Your
what
alternative
you
proposal,
precisely
take it
on the
out
road. Don't just leave it now on the floor of the house. Take it to the people so that the people know. Because sometimes, for example, you scroll on social media, and sometimes I just read through the comments, and you'll see people questioning things or raising things, and then somebody will say, "Oh no, but he said that then," and then the person say, "Oh, I missed it." So it's in print, it's on radio, it's on TV, it's on PBCJ, it's on nationwide YouTube, but some people are still it's not getting through to them.
Don't leave it to think that once you put it out on radio,
Right, or mainstream media generally,
mainstream media,
or even
that they've
social
seen
media, it's gonna get there.
yeah, lots see it here, but you also have to get on the ground.
Absolutely. So the councillors, the MPs, take it to the people. Take the messages. Because I think both parties now have given us a very clear roadmap as to where they want to go. I think that the choice is stark and it is clear. And it's now for the people to have the information to make the best decision for the country in a matter of, 15 months, thereabout? Yeah? So I want to see that. I want to see that messaging push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 6:48.
Importers, the Jamaica Customs Agency is revolutionizing your clearance experience as our contactless clearance process becomes mandatory on April 2, 2024. This process will facilitate the clearance of all non-commercial personal shipments at our seaports with a CIF value of less than $5,000 being inspected by customs without you or your agent present. You're encouraged to make your payments using our customs mobile app, JA Customs Connect. Fees payable to your shipping agent and warehouse operator remain applicable. For further information, contact your freight forwarder or email contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm or call 876-922-5140-8. The JCA's contactless clearance process is convenient, efficient, and secure. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
We're welcoming every woman with a special International Women's Day offer at Sagicor Bank. Women who apply for a Sagicor Bank credit card get 5,000 bonus points with a qualifying purchase within 30 days. That's not all. Apply for a car loan or mortgage, and Sagicor Bank will welcome you with a reduction in your commitment fee. At Sagicor Bank, we want every woman to feel welcome. Conditions apply.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school, and now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less,
or two or three,
at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure.
The solution is simple, right? Act now.
Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Shake and go with true shake. Shake and go. Grab a true shake and go. When me have to put in the work, but I'm moving slow. Grab a true shake and go. School time and not joke time. Office study hard brain full time. Grab a true shake and go. When we up in the gym, we have to stay healthy and fit. Grab a true shake and go. Shake and go with True Shake. Packed with 9 grams of protein, 24 key vitamins and minerals to keep you going. Grab a true shake and go.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence, and the Road Safety Unit in the Island Traffic Authority.
It's time now for our first report from the streets. Ludlow McLean has Street Smarts. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning, Ricardo. Morning, Tony.
Morning to you, Ludlow.
Our listeners, morning time, our transport operators, whether it's land, air, sea, we wish you all the best and hope everything is fine. And our visitors, we can't forget you. Good morning time. The situation out of like Portmore, Hellshire, Main Road, Port Henderson Road, it's pretty good going. The flow is good, even up to the 85 route there, all the way to Brayton Narrate. For the time being, it's pretty good. I suspect that a number of schools are not out, they're out today. And Portmore is not too bad for the time being. So if you're trying to make it to the toll, absolutely free-flowing as you make your way towards the toll. And if that exit point via Municipal Boulevard is not too bad, vehicles coming off the Dyke Road to converge, to connect with Municipal Boulevard is not too bad for the time being. The Mandela, Westtown, heading to Spanish Town Road, you won't have no problem at all. And coming from that end, the bypass, heading towards the Mandela, using the Hosemati roundabout there, it's pretty good going as you make your way eastbound, all the way past the vicinity of the ferry station and looking towards the Plantation Heights area, heading towards Washington Boulevard, by the bridge, the overpass by 6. It's pretty good going so far, so good. All right, so it's our first report for the morning. Let's see what happens from the east going west, and let's see if we can give you a good update on that. So until 7:15 or 7:18, it's back to you, Ricardo, in the studios.
Thanks, Ludlow. And you know I'm an advocate for the soon-to-be-named Paul Bogle Highway. The PB. So if the members of the Works Agency are listening, it seems some underground springs are popping up. We're getting a few little potholes here and there, and because I'm so fiercely protective of that piece of infrastructure, I'd like them to get on it before it becomes a greater problem. Because Mr. King has promised that we're all straddling to the east. You know, we're taking the PB to Portland once the entire stretch is finished. So if the Works Agency is listening, please, get on that.
I wonder what they'll name the leg in my direction. Maypen to Williamsfield.
Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But yes, please, some underground springs are popping up and, disturbing the surface. Yeah? Up next, Donna has the word of the day.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence, and the Road Safety Unit in the Island Traffic Authority.
Your word of the day, spelled C-O-N-N-O-I-S-S-E-U-R, spelled C-O-N-N-O-I-S-S-E-U-R.
Connoisseur. Connoisseur. Connoisseur.
Connoisseur is your word of the day. It's a noun and it means a person who is especially competent to pass critical judgments in an art, particularly one of the fine arts or in matters of taste. Connoisseur, a person who is especially competent to pass critical judgments in an art, particularly one of the fine arts or in matters of taste. First recorded between 1705 and 1715. To use it in a sentence quickly, provided by dictionary.com this morning. After many years of study and travel to tea estates around the world, she became a renowned tea connoisseur. Yeah.
You see, Said, when I read him kiss things them and prepare himself for court, I sent in my breakfast order. And being the bully he is, he messaged me privately, "Ha, your last breakfast." You would think I will never eat breakfast again. Good morning, Council.
Red card, Saeed.
Red card.
Red card.
Up next, your features, and at the top of the hour, I'll have the news.
Our pets deserve the best care possible. It's your job as a pet owner to ensure that they're being taken care of in the best way you know how. Yes, regular visits to the vet may be expensive and the doggy chow in the supermarket does add up. But what if I told you that your kitchen cupboard and refrigerator are the solutions to your cash-strapped pockets? Today on Pets World, we look at foods you can give your pets which aid with their health. Your dog is sick and you just don't have the money to take your pal to the vet. You're now stuck with a sick dog and your anxiety is through the roof, wondering how you can help your poor trusty companion. If your dog has the runs, veterinarian Dr. Marty Goldstein says the simple combination of chicken, potato, and turnip can help resolve the problem.
In the 1970s, I learned about this. It's an old folk medicine back from the 1800s. It's a combination of white and sweet potatoes, a slice of turnip, and a slice of leek. Hold the leek out for cats.
Okay.
You boil it up, and then you give it with 30% chicken. Use it for about 5 to 7 days. Another great diet for diarrhea. Pumpkin, 50% with 50% chicken. Now, as you know, there's way too much cancer in our animal population, and this has been proven that these vegetables, green leafy vegetables, or broccoli, or red or yellow vegetables, are high in antioxidants.
Believe it or not, just like humans, dogs can have dry skin too. However, Dr. Goldstein says fish oil is the cure.
Dry skin, flaky, itchy. Essential fatty acids, been proven to be very high in anti-inflammatory components, omegas, great for the skin, great for the heart, great for the joints. So we have salmon, sardines. Fish oil is the best supplement right now for dry, flaky skin and anti-inflammatory.
Having strong gums and teeth signifies that your dog is healthy. Poorly kept teeth means more than likely your dog is suffering from gingivitis. If gingivitis is left untreated, it can then develop into more serious gum disease such as periodontal disease. This may involve the loss of bone and soft tissue around the teeth. To prevent this from happening, Dr. Goldstein says give your dog neck bones once in a while.
For teeth and gums, excellent. Marrow bones, be careful, you can break teeth on it. The best is neck bones. You want to do it raw because if you cook them, they splinter more and they fracture and they can get caught in the throat. Bully sticks, or with the big dogs, throw them a carrot. They love it.
That's a good idea.
Great exercise. And ear infections. 40% of every veterinary population is ear infections, especially the waxy, dry, brown, smelly ears. Apple cider vinegar. Yeast does not like acid. About a teaspoon and a third a cup of water. Get a little dispenser right into the ear. And if it irritates, stop it. And if it doesn't get better in 2 or 3 days, go to your veterinarian.
Dr. Marty Goldstein, veterinarian. That's Pets World today.
fearless, and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
Have you ever witnessed your little one kicking and screaming in their sleep, and nothing you do will comfort them? Hi, I'm Tana, and these are your lifestyle pages. These episodes are known as night terrors. Children are partial awake with behaviors such as screaming, kicking, and panicking. And it usually lasts for about 10 to 30 minutes. Here's what you should look for. Your child is frightened but can't be awakened or comforted. Your child's eyes are wide open, but he or she doesn't know you're there. Your child often does not remember the episode in the morning. Stay tuned to find out what you should do if your child is experiencing night terrors. I'm Tana, and those were your lifestyle pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Help someone today. One act of kindness can go a far way. The time by the Jamaica Information Service is...
It's news time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston or Mobay. The temperature by National Supply is...
It's 26 degrees Celsius here in Kingston, 25 out west in Montego Bay.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
A very good morning to you. I'm Ricardo Brooks. Coming up in the news at 7 for this morning, Wednesday, March 27, 2024. The Auditor General says the TAJ spent more than $300 million to lease two properties for nearly 3 years, but failed to occupy them. Opposition PMP considering legal action against the House Speaker over handling of reports from the Auditor General.
We believe we are at a stalemate where there's intransigence on the part of the Speaker in terms of her interpretation of the law, and I don't know how else it is going to be resolved.
The Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, says the PMP's position on increasing the income tax threshold is shifting in the wind. MP Robert Chin says the Integrity Commission has given him 2 weeks to provide financial statements for companies he serves as a director. In international news, divers will resume the search for 6 people who are missing following U.S. bridge collapse on Tuesday. The details after the break.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The Auditor General, Pamela Monroe Ellis, has accused the Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ of spending more than $370 million on properties it had failed to occupy for nearly 3 years. That's one of the findings of an Auditor General report tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The report also found that one property in question is owned by a company of which the Member of Parliament for the constituency is a director. Shalois Michael tells us more.
The special audit was triggered after allegations that the TAJ was seeking a property to relocate its tax office in St. Mary. The allegations are that the sitting Member of Parliament, through his private company, bought a commercial building within his constituency a few meters across from the existing tax office. This office was subsequently rented to TAJ for approximately $700,000 per month. It is further alleged that at the time of the report in December 2023, the building was not yet occupied by the TAJ, although approximately 8 months' rent had been paid, and to date renovation work was yet to commence. The Auditor General in her report says the allegations were proven true. However, no evidence was presented that suggested that the MP in any way influenced the TAJ's decision to lease the property. But the probe revealed further alleged irregularities in the TAJ's procurement of real estate. On January 25, 2022, TAJ began leasing a property located on Main Street, Anato Bay, St. Mary. As of August 31, 2023, it spent a total of $15 million on lease payments. TAJ projected that the retrofitting works would cost more than $56 million. But up to the time of the report, There was no evidence that the TAJ had relocated its operations to the property. Once again, the Auditor General stresses that there were no evidence that TAJ's decision to lease was externally influenced. However, further checks from Mrs. Monroe Ellis says the TAJ did not receive written permission from the Commission of Lands before entering the lease agreement, nor did it engage the National Land Agency NLA to conduct a valuation. This is a requirement of the government's asset management policy. According to TAJ's management team, this requirement was not adhered to in the interest of time, as another entity was also interested in leasing the space. In yet another instance, the TAJ leased a building in Greenvale, Mandeville, which it is yet to occupy. This is despite expending nearly $357 million as of August 31, 2023. The Auditor General says despite the completion of the proposal for renovation and furnishing in June 2019 and the first lease payment in September 2020, the necessary renovation works had not yet commenced. Mrs. Monroe Ellis notes that up to August 31, 2023, the TAJ expended nearly $372 million for the properties it had yet to occupy. The Auditor General says the TAJ's standard operating procedures are not consistent with best practices of accountability and transparency and should be aligned with the relevant GOJ's policies and regulations. Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the Auditor General has cleared the Financial Services Commission of most allegations of wrongdoing leveled by a whistleblower regarding its procurement practices. However, Mrs. Monroe Ellis has raised concerns regarding the transparency of the FSC's human resource management practices. The Auditor General found that 71 positions at the FSC, costing in excess of $300 million per year, were not on the ministry's list of established posts. However, Mrs. Monroe Ellis says she found no evidence of an intention to circumvent government policy. The FSC says its enabling legislation authorizes it to make such actions. The Auditor General also observed instances where officers were either employed or promoted without the positions being advertised or interviewed. Although this practice is in accordance with the public service regulations, the FSC indicated that steps will be taken to amend its HR policy to address any ambiguities. Ultimately, the Auditor General recommended the FSC seek to resolve with the Ministry of Finance outstanding matters related to its establishment and recruitment practices and improve transparency in its HR processes. Opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson says the PNP is considering legal action against the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Juliet Holness, over her handling of reports from the Auditor General. He's referring to her initial ruling to have reports from the Auditor General first sent to the Portfolio Minister before being tabled. Mr. Robinson says Mrs. Holness's interpretation of the law is wrong. Robian Williams reports.
During Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives, Mrs. Holness walked back her prior ruling. Mrs. Holness directed that 2 reports from the Auditor General be tabled despite previously having them sent back. Mr. Robinson believes the House Speaker bowed to public pressure.
I think the Speaker and the JLP bowed to public pressure. I think there was outrage from Friday when that release went out to say that there were no outstanding reports as of Friday, and then subsequent to that, people found out that the reports were actually sent and were sent back by the Speaker. And then I think yesterday when the Speaker released that letter to the clerk, I think that also enraged a number of people. So I think they bowed to public pressure to release it. But importantly, she has said that her opinion remains the same. And so in a month's time, when Parliament resumes and the Auditor General has other reports, we're going to be back to square one. From the opposition's perspective, we are contemplating court action. We haven't made a definitive decision on it, but we believe we are at a stalemate where there's intransigence on the part of the Speaker in terms of her interpretation of the law, and I don't know how else it is going to be resolved. So we are actively considering it, and once we make a decision, we will inform the public of that.
Mr. Robinson notes that the opinion of the Attorney General would bring clarity to the situation.
I think the Speaker, unfortunately and wrongly, continues to hold on to the opinion that the Attorney General provided on this issue, which I believe would provide some guidance to all parties, because in our view, she has wrongfully and unlawfully interpreted the provisions both of the Constitution and the FAA Act in relation to Section 30. By withholding the opinion, it means that we don't have clarity from the government's chief legal advisor, and it would help to bring clarity if that opinion was made public. And again, today, she has held to her position that she's not going to release that opinion.
Mrs. Holness says she'll meet with the Auditor General sometime this week to seek agreement going forward. Mr. Robinson is advising against any such meeting.
I'm very concerned about that. In fact, I would advise the Auditor General not to meet with her. The issue is not an issue between her and the Auditor General. The issue is her interpretation of the law, in our view, wrongful interpretation of the law. And I don't know what that meeting will accomplish. The Auditor General has made it clear that she does not believe what the Speaker has done is correct, which is why she has sent back those reports. So what is the meeting going to do?
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark has accused the opposition PNP of failing to explain how their proposal of an increase in the income tax threshold would be funded. He described the opposition leader's position as shifting in the wind.
Madam Speaker, in May 2023, the Leader of the Opposition declared that Jamaica's income tax threshold should be increased by 40% to 2.1 million. No numbers, no analysis, no costing. 4 months later, in September 2023, 4 months later, he changes his mind, flip-flop again, calling instead for a 100% increase in the income tax threshold. Again, no numbers, no analysis, no costing. Them just a wing it, Madam Speaker, unprincipled positions, shifting in the wind, flip-flop, flip-flop.
Dr. Clark made the comment during his closing budget presentation in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. During his contribution to the budget debate last Tuesday, Mr. Golding chided the government for only raising the income tax threshold to $1.7 million. He pointed out that Prime Minister Andrew Holness had promised a 2.0 version of the 2016 increase. Mr. Golding had called for an increase in the threshold to $3 million. Dr. Clark says Mr. Golding's call was just a cynical ploy to get the attention of the Jamaican people.
Madam Speaker, that is what happens when you have an opposition that makes a habit of unprincipled position. The expectations of them will always lead to disappointment. Because, Madam Speaker, when I explained that this move would cost over $45 billion, all you could hear was silence. Mouth zip, not a peep. The opposition leader spoke for 2 hours and not one word about how he would fund an increase in the income tax threshold that cost over $45 billion. It seems to be the case, Madam Speaker, it seemed to me and to a reasonable person that this was a cynical ploy to get the attention of Jamaicans without any idea about how to sustainably finance it. They did not even know the cost.
Dr. Nigel Clark, the Minister of Finance. Meanwhile, Dr. Clark has dismissed claims by his opposition counterpart Julian Robinson that funds under the Program for Advancement Through Health and Education PATH have not kept pace with inflation.
The opposition spokesperson on finance made the comment, PATH funds have not kept up with inflation. That's not correct, Madam Speaker. It's not correct. Allocations to PATH in the upcoming fiscal year have increased by almost 30%, or $2 billion, which is 4 times the rate of inflation over the past 12 months. Since 2016, the average real rate of increase in PATH allocations, adjusted for inflation, is approximately 15%. I'm saying PATH allocations, Madam Speaker, have increased by 30% in the last 12 months, and since 2016 have increased at a rate way above the rate of inflation.
Dr. Nigel Clark, the Minister of Finance and the Public Service. Member of Parliament for South Manchester Robert Chin says the Integrity Commission has given him 2 weeks to provide financial statements for companies for which he serves as a director. Mr. Chin attended a meeting at the Commission's office on Monday after the agency made a public notice summoning him. Mr. Chin says he had been in touch with the Commission over the last few months in relation to the requested financial statements. Those financial statements are still outstanding. The MP told our news centre that following Monday's meeting, he was given until next Friday, April 5, to submit the documents. The Office of Utilities Regulation, the OUR, says there were over 136,000 power outages by the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, in 2023. That was a 26.8% increase over the number of blackouts recorded by the OUR in 2022. Kimon Thompson has the story.
The OUR says the number of electricity outages by the JPS has increased incrementally over the last 5 years. It has moved from just over 51,000 in 2019 to over 136,000 in 2023. The utility regulator says the majority of the outages in 2023, 132,226, were forced outages causing unexpected service interruptions. The OUR says 4,326 were categorized as planned. Director General of the OUR, Ansord Hewitt, released the figures in his State of the Utility Sector report presented at the agency's 10th annual Director General's Stakeholders Engagement on Tuesday. Mr. Hewitt says the agency is dissatisfied with the level of service being offered by the utilities.
Am I satisfied with the performance of the utilities? The answer to that would have to be no, but it is a work in progress and we have seen improvement, but to the extent that our customer surveys, for example, continue to indicate varying levels of disaffection with the service that is provided by the different utilities. It remains a matter of concern that they are still not getting the customer issues resolved in a timely way, in a way that gives assurance to their customers that they are being heard and treated fairly.
Hewitt says JPS suffered a financial penalty for failing to meet pre-established targets in 2022 and will likely receive another penalty when the assessment for the 2024 tariff review is complete. JPS paid some $437 million in fines in 2023. Mr. Hewitt also reported on the water and telecoms sectors and listed a range of consumer issues. These include inconsistent access to and availability of potable water, intolerable levels of water losses, frequent service disruptions, and a lack of transparency in contracts. The OUR head says utility companies must do better for the sake of improving the country's productivity.
We have seen some progress, we have seen some transformation taking place across the different sectors, but we continue to work at them because we think we can do better, and that if we're going to raise the country's overall productivity, the utilities themselves have a role to play in terms of delivering better and more efficient service and widening their coverage to make sure that all Jamaicans are able to get the utility service that they can pay for, and in some instances there will need to be some kind of public subsidy, but that's another matter.
Kimon Thompson, Nationwide News.
In international news now, divers are expected to resume the search for 6 people who are missing and presumed dead after a bridge in the United States city of Baltimore collapsed on Tuesday. 6 people were working on the deck of the Francis Scott Key Bridge when one of its pillars was struck by a 984-foot cargo ship at about 1:30 Tuesday morning, causing it to collapse. One of the missing persons has been identified as Miguel Luna, originally from El Salvador, who was working on the bridge at the time of the crash. The bridge snapped and plunged into the river on Tuesday after the Dali container ship crashed into it. The vessel had lost power and issued a distress call moments before, but it was traveling too quickly to change course. The chair of the National Transport Safety Board, Jennifer Homendy, says investigators were able to board the ship Tuesday night. She says they looked at the engine room, the bridge, and gathered electronics and documentation. That's the news at 7 this morning. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is...
It's 18 minutes after 7.
Taxpayers, pay your taxes online at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. Call 888-TAX-HELP for more details. The Temperature, brought to you by Tax Administration Jamaica, working together to serve you better, is...
It's 27 degrees Celsius here in Kingston, 26 out west in Montego Bay.
Jumpstart your fitness goals with Express Fitness.
Sign up today and restart your fitness journey at an Express Fitness location near you. Enjoy safe, comfortable, and well-equipped gyms from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Call 554-5180 for a full listing of our open locations. Express Fitness. Express Fitness. Your goal, our mission.
Easter time come, me go pick up a mother's Easter bun.
It's a the king, you know. All the right ingredients, the proper amount of fruit, well soaked and baked to soft, delicious perfection.
A sub-bun for nice. So whether you add cheese, butter, or even a patty, mother's Easter bun is the one that will make you say, a sub-bun for nice.
Mother's Easter bun are the king, you know. Hurry and grab one before it's done.
More deliciousness.
More deliciousness from Mother's Bakery.
Hello? Yes, dear. But just a call for tell him to get the thing.
Nothing says Happy Easter like an Alliance MoneyGram money transfer.
And we get something sweet with it.
Pick up your Alliance MoneyGram money transfer of US $150 or more from March 18 to March 28th and get an Easter bun and cheese while stocks last at select locations.
Happy Easter to you too.
Remember, head to the sweetest location to pick up your MoneyGram money transfer this Easter.
Alliance!
A member of the Sagicor Group.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence, and the Road Safety Unit in the Island Traffic Authority.
It's time now for second traffic report. Ludlow McLean has Street Smarts. Morning, Ludlow.
Morning again, Ricardo, and motoring public, our visitors. It's now bright and sunny, and there is a little bit more traffic, but it's good vehicular movement in most places. Those regular areas coming out of Meadowbrook onto Reddy's Road from Meadowbrook Avenue and going further down Reddy's Road. The same thing if you're in the evening days, Hampton Drive, Border Avenue, heading on to Manington Road. Pretty good going. Constant Spring Road coming from Manor Park, coming all the way down, going across Olivier Road, then on to Shortwood Road. Pretty good movement. Constant Spring Road, heading down, southbound, we always say, into Half a Street, steady, no problems, no delay. Even on Dunrobin, yes, there's a little bit up at the intersection of Dunrobin, Constant Spring Road, but by and large, it's good movement from as far as the Washington Boulevard, coming up the boulevard. Malines going across Malines and Boulevard intersection, and then across Seaward Drive. Also, the intersection of Walton Park, Casher Park, and Malines Road. You'll have good vehicular movement in those areas. So, not too bad at the moment. Those of you on the eastern side, you are also having good movement from, especially Mountain View, coming up past Langston Road and Deanery Road, and then further up to Arthurwint, and then to the top of Mountain View, then going across Eastview Avenue, which takes you onto Ladymouth Bay Road. Good movement in all these areas. I'm pretty sure that as the morning progresses, you'll definitely have more traffic in all of these areas. And just remember, you have also the garbage truck to contend with and various other obstructions. So just be careful as you make your way to your various destinations. So we'd like to say before we leave, at Street Smart, your safety is our concern. So, Ricardo, we'll hear you later on or tomorrow?
Say it again, Ludlow?
We'll hear you later on the program in the evening or tomorrow?
No, it's effective next Tuesday.
Next week, okay. So we'll still hear, I'm always tuned in. All right,
Ludlow.
You have lots of big ups to I tell you. Kudos to you, man. All right?
Appreciate that, Ludlow.
Yeah.
All right, Ludlow McLean there with Street Smarts. Up next, the front page.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence, and the Road Safety Unit in the Island Traffic Authority.
Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're now tuned into our discussion segment, the front page. This morning we're getting reactions to the explanation pronouncements made by the House Speaker, Juliet Holness, yesterday in the House of Representatives in relation to the tabling of the outstanding Auditor General reports, as well as about that letter that she sent to the clerk of the House, Valerie Curtis. Speaker of the House of Representatives Juliet Holness has backed down from her previous position regarding the tabling of reports from the Auditor General's Department. During Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives, Mrs. Holness directed that 2 reports from the Auditor General be tabled, this after previously instructing that those same reports be returned to the department without tabling. In November of last year, Mrs. Holness ruled that reports from the Auditor General regarding statutory bodies must first be sent to the Portfolio Minister before being tabled in the House. Despite the ruling, Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis continued to follow the original convention of sending the reports directly to Parliament. And one such report was sent in December of last year and another in January this year. These reports were then sent back to the Auditor General last week. Mrs. Monroe Ellis on Monday then resubmitted the same reports, triggering a standoff with the House Speaker. It's a challenge Mrs. Holness has seemingly backed away from based on her utterances yesterday. Joining us now for discussion, Principal Director of the National Integrity Action NIA, Daniel Archer, political commentator Dr. Nadine Spence, and we're due to be joined by Attorney at Law Clyde Williams. Ladies, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to your listeners. Good morning, Nadine.
Thank you so much for
Good
joining us
morning.
here on Nationwide this morning. To you first, Daniel, what do you make of the explanation, the pronouncements made yesterday by the House Speaker?
Let's be grateful and applaud the reversal. I think that's important. I think that indicates that somewhere along the line there has been someone listening to what the public has been saying with respect to the interpretation of the legislation, and I think that is something to be applauded. I think it's also important to note that public commentary is important. The voice of the people matters, and the fact that people have been saying this is wrong, it does inspire and give the belief that the reversal was due to the utterances. So I want to acknowledge that. I think also, though, one of the most important things that we have to focus on now is who, or better yet, what's the best interpretation of the legislation. The presentation of the opinion from the Attorney General, which is not the government's lawyer, but the people's lawyer, because the government is not the Jamaica Labour Party. The government comprises of both the ruling party and the opposition party to create what is called Parliament. And the Attorney General represents the people of Jamaica. So their opinion is something that should guide our view. I think that should be shared, failing which I do believe that there should be an interpretation of the legislation by the courts whose duty it is to interpret the law.
Do you sense, Daniel, any inconsistency with the fact that the Speaker has now released these 2 reports? However, it wasn't clear as to whether going forward
she would adhere to her previous ruling
Or the convention.
or return to the convention. Do you sense any inconsistency there?
I wouldn't use the word inconsistency. What I would say is uncertainty going forward. In the context of which you place it, to my mind, yes, it is inconsistent with her ruling, but we're also uncertain as to whether or not this is going to be the natural path. And it's not just convention, it's the interpretation of the law. So this is an interpretation of the law that the Auditor General's Department, has followed for the last 100 years. It's also the interpretation that many legal proponents have. So the question really is, Ricardo, Tana, Nadine, and listeners, what is the real interpretation? If it is that one side said it's wrong and another side said it's right, it's an appropriate opportunity to have a judge determine what the interpretation is, because by nature, that's what the judges do. Parliament makes the law. They're not the high court of the land. They're simply the place where laws are made, and the court is where we now interpret the legislation.
But Dr. Spence, did you get from the House Speaker yesterday that she would be minded to make a change? I mean, she said that she'd be meeting with the Auditor General and have a consultation with others.
Well, part of our conversation in the public has assumed that the Speaker's interpretation of the law is automatically wrong. That's what we've interpreted. And then we've also not heard the Speaker, because yesterday in the presentation, the Speaker said clearly that she did take into consideration the Attorney General's ruling, and that the Attorney General's ruling is what informed her position.
But might it then not have been helpful, Dr. Spence, for her to just release that, so that her position, so that her position can be bolstered?
I understand that, Ricardo, but what is happening, and we should address that matter, that what is happening right now is that we're having a conversation about trust. Do we trust the Speaker? Remember now, the Speaker is a creature of the standing orders, and we should read the standing orders. And the standing order says, being informed by the law, this is my interpretation, the Speaker has the right to make rulings that are final. Within the Speaker's right. It is within the Speaker's right to do so.
I hear that, Dr. Spence, but in the exercise of hold on, in the exercise of the discretion,
I'm not talking about the interpretation. I'm talking about the office that is held.
No, and I appreciate that. So you want us to have confidence and trust in the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives?
No, it's not a matter of wanting us to have it. I'm just saying that the issue then is not whether or not the Speaker has done something wrong or right, but is whether or not we trust the Speaker's decision.
And my point, my response to that would be, the Jamaican people would be assisted in trusting the office and the institution if the exercise of the discretion is backed by the opinion that the legal opinion that she received.
Which means that we don't trust it. That's
no, I don't think that's a fair conclusion. I don't think that's a fair conclusion, because Daniel just spoke to the fact that there's been an existing convention. There's a departure from that convention. If there's a departure from the convention, and you're asking the Jamaican people to simply accept the word of the Speaker, and that is the bar, I don't think that would be acceptable.
I'm not talking about the bar. I'm not talking about a bar, and I'm talking about an office. And the fact that at this point in our history, we do not have trust in the office. So that whatever the office does now is up for question. So, for example, and I know we've heard it said time and time again, there are two laws that guide the conduct of audits in our country. And the convention might have been for 100 years that when an audit is submitted, it is just submitted straight to the House and the Speaker tables it. But we do know that there are two laws which says there can be potentially two types of audit, and that the Auditor General ought to declare to the Speaker under what condition these audits are being submitted. And that if that clarification is given, then the Speaker then knows how to act. And I think that is what I've heard time and time again in the public. So what it must mean, if we are following the argument, is that the Auditor General hasn't declared which of those two laws should guide the Speaker, and how the Speaker then proceeds after the thing has been tabled.
Hold it there for us. We're up on the break. Dr. Nadine Spence, Daniel Archer, and after the break, we'll be joined by Attorney at Law Clyde Williams.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is...
It's 7:34.
We're welcoming every woman with a special International Women's Day offer at Sagicor Bank. Women who apply for a Sagicor Bank credit card get 5,000 bonus points with a qualifying purchase within 30 days. That's not all. Apply for a car loan or mortgage, and Sagicor Bank will welcome you with a reduction in your commitment fee. At Sagicor Bank, we want every woman to feel welcome. Conditions apply.
Bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Give me yummy, bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Give me yummy. Don't stop at just a one slice, please. No other bun, perfect for me. Yummy. For real Jamaican flavor and quality for sure this Easter. Make yummy the bun to your cheese. Yummy. Give me yummy, yummy. Give me yummy for the Easter. Yummy bun zeta. Yummy for me family. Yummy for me, sir. Bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Yummy. Bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Best bun. Give me yummy.
Shop now and save in Active Home Center Home Sweet Home Sale, Wednesday, March 20th to 27th. Take up to 30% off selected tiles, bathroom fixtures, lighting, and so much more. Shop selected 18-inch ceramic tiles starting at $199 plus GCT. This sale lasts for 1 week only, so don't miss out. Visit our showrooms in Kingston and Montego Bay. Conditions apply. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
There's a new gym on the block. Listen up, Portmore. Express Fitness is coming to the Big Buy Plaza. Get ready to sweat at our brand new location. And here's the best part. To celebrate, we're offering an unbeatable deal of only $1,000 for the first month. That's right. For only $1,000, you'll have access to state-of-the-art equipment and a community that's all about reaching your fitness goals. Don't miss out on this exclusive offer. Head down to Express Fitness at Big Buy Plaza in Portmore, where your journey to a better you begins.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide this morning. We're getting reactions to what transpired in the House of Representatives yesterday. The House Speaker has finally tabled 2 reports from the Auditor General's Department that were outstanding. We're pleased to be joined by Principal Director of National Integrity Action, Daniel Archer, political commentator, Dr. Nadine Spence, and we also have with us Attorney at Law, Clyde Williams. And Clyde Williams, I wondered what you made of what you saw in the House yesterday. Clyde? All right.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Very
yes.
Sorry about that. Terribly sorry. I want to make a few initial points. I do not accept the law is ambiguous. That's the first point I want to make. I think the law is very clear as to what must happen in different circumstances. So the Financial Administration Act, sections 29 and 30, provides for 2 different origins of a report, of an audit. So the Constitution governs ultimately the Auditor General's office, and the Constitution makes it clear that she is not subject to the direction of anybody except through judicial review. The only persons who can review the Auditor General is the court on judicial review applications. Section 29 says that in addition to the annual report, the Auditor General may, on her own discretion, and let me read it, provided that the Auditor General may at any time, if it appears to him to be desirable, prepare a special report on any matter incidental to his powers and duties under this Act. Subsection 2 of 29. Every report of the Auditor General shall be addressed to the Speaker, who shall lay the report before the House of Representatives as soon as possible after its receipt by them. Then we come to Section 30, which is a little different here now. Section 30 says, in sum, that if the Parliament passes a resolution requesting a report and audit of a specific government body, public body, then at the end of that audit, it must be the line minister who then would get that report. The line minister would send the report to the public body for their own observations and comments. This is sections 30, subsections 1, 2, continuing to 1 and 2. Send it to the public body, and then that public body will make whatever observations and comments, and then the minister would table the report with those observations and comment. If the minister doesn't act within a reasonable time, then the Auditor General can then just send it to the Speaker for the tabling. So a lot turns on the origin of the audit. If the origin of the audit comes from a parliamentary resolution, and typically that would be led by a minister for whatever the public body under his watch, her watch. If it comes by a parliamentary resolution, section 30 of the Financial Admin and Audit Act, then when it comes that way, it goes back to the minister, who then sends it on to the public body, who will then make comments. It's about fairness. And then it comes to the parliament, both with the audit report and the comments. In this situation, these special audits, that's what they call it when the Auditor General acts on her own discretion, as per section 29, subsection 1 of the statute. If these two audits were not audits that originated from a resolution in the parliament, these audits came about through the exercise of the discretion of the Auditor General. When the Auditor General exercises her discretion and produces a special report as per section 29, subsection 1 of the Act, that then is sent to the Speaker, who has no discretion, any option or otherwise, but to table as soon as it's possible. So for me, there is no confusion in the law. What has happened is that persons have, and in this case, the Speaker has taken on to herself to be her own lawyer interpreting what the law says. And she cited in the letter to the clerk, section 30. That's the section she cited in the letter to the clerk. But section 30 only comes into relevance when there is a parliamentary resolution. And in this case, there was none. So the law is not unclear. As to conventions, conventions never trump what is expressly stated in the law. Mm-hmm. And I think many persons are confusing how these things must operate. So let me just wind up. The Auditor General does annual audits. Those must go to the Speaker. If she does a special audit on her own discretion, it goes to the Speaker as well to be tabled. If the audit arises from a parliamentary resolution, then at the end of that audit, it goes to the line minister, who sends it to the public body to get comments, so that the report is then tabled with the comments from the public body. It's not confusing at all.
And therefore, Daniel, it's and it's a point I was trying to make earlier. Would it not then assist the conversation, the public discourse, if the Speaker provides for the public and the opposition, Jamaicans, to see on what basis, on what legal basis she has the interpretation that she has now stuck to?
It would do certainly that. It would also build trust. Nadine pointed out the whole notion of trust. That's important, because what appears to be happening, and I'm guided by the utterance, I believe it was, of Minister Clark on all angles when he said the House Speaker represents the interests of the governing party. If I did hear correctly, then the question is going to be whether or not the rulings being made by the House Speaker are being done in the interest of the governing party, or they're being done in the interest of the people of Jamaica. Where there is a confusion between the interest of the governing party and the interest of the people of Jamaica, I would want to submit that it is the people of Jamaica who would always trump that, because that would be the interest of that you're serving, and that is the ultimate interest for anyone who is entering in or being part of Parliament. I dare say, Ricardo, Tona, and your listeners, that where we are is at a crossroads. There are many questions that have been raised in the public domain about how Parliament is being run. And one of the things you want to do is you want to encourage trust in Parliament. You want to encourage trust in the people who govern. And this is one way to do it, because you did release the opinion of the parliamentary attorney. The question is, why would you hold on then to the opinion of the Attorney General in a matter that has garnered public interest, in which you need to develop trust, and in which, if it is you are right, then, and the opinion boasts, as you have said, that you are right, then what harm is done by holding on to it and not releasing it? So in the interest of trust for Parliament, in the interest of trust for the individuals in Parliament, in the interest of trust for the office that she holds, it would augur very well for it to be released, because if Clyde is correct, and Clyde's interpretation is the interpretation I hold, as well as many other attorneys, then it would mean that there is something that we didn't see. And knowing how fulsome the opinion of the Attorney General often is, then we could see the genesis of their determination.
And Dr. Spence, based on the position that has been taken by the House Speaker, that she's standing by her position of not releasing the Attorney General's opinion, and standing for no by the position based on her interpretation of the law. I mean, how do you see this playing out? What's your assessment of this playing out for future reports from the Auditor General?
And the issue that I raised in the first instance of my comments still stands. It's that for me, what is playing out now is a matter of trust. And, you know, I know Ricardo didn't agree with me. And I was saying trust in respect of the fact that we have to admit that at this moment, we have very little trust in some of the offices that define our democracy. And so if it is that we are all in agreement with it, that there's a matter of lack of trust in for example, the office of the Speaker, then what we have to say is, does the Speaker recognize this? And is the Speaker then of the opinion that her ability to act in her own discretion, or in the discretion Speaker of the House, you know, bolstered by the law and so on, if that does not necessarily fly at this time, that is not the context within which we operate, then I would think that there needs to be more communication coming from her office and her chair as to why the decision was taken, how she interpreted the law, what led to that interpretation, and then perhaps she also spoke in the presentation yesterday about a meeting with the
Auditor General.
Auditor General. And then
I think that's an improper meeting.
I was going to say that.
Hold on, Clyde.
From a legal perspective.
Right, hold on.
Right, because I think that it is only in that meeting, perhaps, that the clarification, because clearly there is no conversation between these two offices as to this, because the House Speaker is holding on to one interpretation of how these reports were submitted, and the Auditor General is holding on to. I'm not a lawyer. I'm looking at what is being played out in the public.
Yeah.
And so I think that what is needed is clarity and clarification around how these reports were submitted, and why the Speaker took one understanding and interpretation, and why the Auditor General took one. Clearly there is no meeting of the minds and no understanding of how these things are happening, clarification as to how these things are happening. So from where I am sitting, in a space where there is low trust, where people are not necessarily buying into the word of one public officer, there ought to be more effort put into understanding the decisions that are taken and understanding the justification for the decisions.
Ladies, gentlemen, hold it for us, please. We're going to ask you to stay with us a little while longer, because we do want to get to that matter of the proposed meeting, as well as what you make of the reprimand that was issued to the clerk to the houses. Hold it for us.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 7:48.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is...
It's 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 Southwest in Montego Bay.
Cool loans, selling your 500 grand. We buy appliances and electrons. All flexible, payment plan. Yeah, man, a hot cash. Hot. I hope to 500 grand. Yeah man, I had cash, $500,000 that make you rich fast. 100 grand fi buy steel and black, 200 fi furniture laptop, 200 fi keep birthday bash. Yeah man, alone hot Get a cool loan to purchase all your electronics, furnitures and appliances at coolmarket.com.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Real estate dealers and salesmen, this year's licensing period is almost here. Skip the hassle and take advantage of the Real Estate Board's new direct online client portal payment platform. Go to our client portal and create an account to get started. Whether you're paying license fees, penalties, or continuing professional development courses, status notifications give you the peace of mind that your payments were successful, and emails with meeting links for your courses. Use the Real Estate Board's new client portal payment platform. Get on with the business of turning houses into homes.
Importers, the Jamaica Customs Agency is revolutionizing your clearance experience as our contactless clearance process becomes mandatory on April 2, 2024. This process will facilitate the clearance of all non-commercial personal shipments at our seaports with a CIF value of less than $5,000 being inspected by customs without you or your agent present. You're encouraged to make your payments using our customs mobile app, JA Customs Connect. Fees payable to your shipping agent and warehouse operator remain applicable. For further information, contact your freight forwarder or email contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm or call 876-922-5140-8. The JCA's contactless clearance process is convenient, efficient, and secure. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're still tuned in to the front page. We're having a conversation about the pronouncements from the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Juliet Holness, who yesterday backed down from her previous position regarding the tabling of reports from the Auditor General's Department. But there's still uncertainty this morning about what will happen to future reports coming from the Auditor General. On the line, we have the Principal Director of the NIA, Daniel Archer, political commentator Dr. Nadine Spence, and attorney at law Clyde Williams. Clyde Williams, to you first, and then Daniel Archer. The opposition, PNP, has said that the Auditor General should not meet with the House Speaker, Juliet Holness. You seem to have a similar position, Clyde, as well as Daniel. Clyde?
Yes. Thank you very much, Tony. Let me just, for the benefit of your listeners, a few seconds, let me read the section of the law that the Speaker cited in the letter to the clerk. And it's section 30. Section 29, subsection 1 and 2 deals with the annual report by the Auditor General and the special report on her discretion. And in section 30 says this, subsection 1, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any other enactment, the Auditor General may, if he thinks fit, audit the accounts of any public body and shall do so if the House of Representatives by resolution so directs. Subsection 2, the Auditor General's report on his examination and audit of any accounts audited pursuant to subsection 1 shall be transmitted to the appropriate minister for presentation to the House of Representatives, provided A, that the appropriate minister shall obtain the observations of the public body concerned on any matter to which the attention has been called by the Auditor General in his report, and such observations shall be presented to the House of Representatives with the report.
So, in other words, if the House by resolution directs or requests from the Auditor General an audit, and she conducts that audit, it is only under those circumstances that she would be required to first send the report to the responsible minister.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It is as clear as day. And I want to say this. It is the section 30 that the Speaker cited in her letter to the clerk. So lawyers say you're hoisted on your own petard. You fall on your own sword. The sword she draw out to deal with Miss Curtis, she's fallen on that sword, because that sword says the only time that you send to the line minister is when the origin of the audit was requested by the parliament. And you can understand why in those circumstances.
Yes.
When the Auditor General acts in her own discretion, the Speaker has to quat and just move along. So I want to say this very clearly. Once you have a Speaker who is beginning to play lawyer, you're going to have a problem. And I am very clear about this. The opinion from the Auditor General, from the Attorney General, is not the property of the Speaker. The reason why the Speaker has the opinion in it, because the Speaker is the conduit through which people go to the Parliament. That is not her property to lock when I want safe and pushing a one drawer yard. It is not her property. It is the property of the Parliament of Jamaica. And by virtue of that, it is the property of the people of Jamaica. So the very fact that she's hiding, and I'm using that word deliberately, the very fact that she's hiding the report raises what Nadine just raised, the question of trust. Because why would you then say, the report I have support me, but you don't make any one of us see it, and you still hold your line and you're not disclosing it? So she's very wrong, fundamentally wrong, to have treated the opinion as a proprietary matter. And also, the Minister of Finance, way off target. The Speaker of the House is not the property of the government. The Parliament, by virtue of being adopted Westminster, has the executive in it and the legislature in it. That's what the Parliament has in it. The executive we call the front bench, and the backbenchers would be the majority side on the back bench of that. Once it comes to the Speaker, it is not to the executive, it's not to the cabinet that they sent the opinion to. If it was sent to the cabinet could hang on to it and say, boy, we're not showing nobody this. But it was sent to the Speaker for the benefit of the Parliament. And the Speaker needs to understand that she has no proprietary interest in anything at all that comes to her as an opinion relating to the function of the Speaker and the Parliament.
And just so we're clear, it has been established that these two reports, these two audits, were not at the behest or at the request of the House of Representatives.
That's correct. That's my information. It was not. I want us to understand the whole setup here. Because the Auditor General is not subject to any discretion. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. Because the Auditor General is not subject to any direction by anybody. Whenever she exercises her discretion, nobody can interfere with it. Only judicial review. You go to the court and you say, well, she was wrong. That's the only time that you can challenge the Auditor General.
Let's hear Dr. Spence, and we should absolutely make clear, we're going to try to get from the Auditor General whether she was asked by the House to initiate these two. We should absolutely confirm with her about that, and we'll try to do that.
A resolution would have to exist.
Yes, so we're gonna ask if there was such a resolution.
Hear this now. Clyde said something. He said from his interpretation of the letter that was sent to the clerk yesterday, which turns on Section 30 of the Financial Administration Act. I think that is the act.
Yes.
Because I have heard mention as well of the Public Bodies Management Accountabilities Act. And I'm not a lawyer, and I don't prefer to know the specific reading of these interpretations. But I have been of the laws, but I've been listening to the interpretations in the public. And in the same way Clyde can a while ago say confidently, I know for a fact that there was no request from the House for the Auditor General to submit a report, that this report came in the natural order of the Auditor General doing her
own discretion.
In her own discretion.
Yes.
And he said, that is my information. And the question that I am asking is, how did he get that information? Is it from the letter yesterday, or he heard something on the fly? Somebody whispered something and tell him. And so he knows now confidently that this is the interpretation of the law that he's going to
Well,
apply.
Nadine, we can all solve that easily, That's not a question about saying it on the fly. We can look to see during the history of the tenure of Parliament whether or not they had passed a resolution.
Right, and we will certainly check that to be certain.
Say that, and I formed that view as well, because in my mind, I wasn't aware that there was a request by Parliament for a special interview, or a special intervention rather, into any of the audits that were being made.
The why I'm saying
and here's why I interrupted too, because one of the things we want to be very clear about, is, are the actions of our officers building trust? And so is it that we're getting to that point now where Parliament is attracting onto itself, or the House Speaker is attracting onto itself certain powers or certain interpretation of powers to say, we didn't tell you to go and investigate or to give us an audit on that, so we're not listening to it. I want us to be very clear that we can't go down that road, because the Auditor General's powers are of such, and the role of the Auditor General is of such, that they are there to ensure, whether it's a JLP or the PNP or any other piece, that whatever monies are being spent from the public purse in any public entity where the taxpayers' money go, that these monies are being spent in an accountable and transparent manner.
What I was saying, Daniel, what we were talking about is we should make clear for the public that when report, according to our law, depending on the origin of the report, when a report is tabled in Parliament, it comes with a particular process. And that the Speaker seemed to be saying that she doesn't know the origin of the report, and so she doesn't know the process to follow upon the tabling of the report. That's what I am implying.
I don't think we go that far.
Don't do that.
Wait
a minute.
Sorry.
Hold
on. Yes. Let Dr. Spence finish the point, and then we'll hear
I'm listening to both of you. I'm saying from the Speaker's actions, that is what I am hearing. Clyde is saying that the only way that would have happened is if the Parliament itself had requested of the Speaker that the Speaker carry out a special audit, and then had no into resubmitting that audit, the Speaker, the Auditor General would now say, I am now submitting the audit at your request as dictated by Section 30 of our whatever section of the law. I think we ought to make that clear in the public, because a lot of people are talking about all kinds of other things. And the truth is, what we're talking about is a matter of procedure. Who is following the correct procedure according to law? That's what it is. And so I would
Nadine, don't confuse the public, Nadine. And don't say Clyde said. Nadine, don't say Clyde said. I read the section of the law. It's not Clyde said. I read the section of the law.
No, but I'm talking about your interpretation of it.
No, but Nadine, I'm sorry, respectfully, let me finish, please. And I'm happy you said you're not a lawyer. As a matter of interpretation of law, you go with the ordinary grammatical meanings of the word. And what I read was as clear as day. You go with the ordinary grammatical meanings of the word. It's very clear what the situation is. The Speaker is wrong. When I refer to Section 30, it is the Speaker in her letter to Ms. Curtis that referenced Section 30 as her defense to doing what she did. But when you read Section 30, it requires that there be a resolution from the Parliament. She has not said there is a resolution. There has been no resolution that, as far as I know, she would have said, pursuant to resolution, so and so and so, a request was made to your office, so and so and so and so. None of that was said in her letter of defense. If there was a resolution in Parliament, she would have necessarily put it in that letter to say the request for audit arose from a situation where the Parliament resolved on such and such a date that the audit was being requested. That is not the case here. The situation here, and I'm saying Nadine, don't confuse, the situation here is that the Auditor General, based on her constitutional office and powers, on her own volition and discretion, decided to have these two special audits. She did the special audits, and the law says when you do these special audits, you send it to the Speaker, who then tables it. What's happening is that the Speaker has embarked on a path of lack of transparency. That's what's going on here in the Parliament of Jamaica, where the Speaker has decided that it is her property and she's not going to be transparent.
Gentlemen, ladies, I wish we could go on further. I know you have other points to make on this matter, but we are out of time.
Yeah.
We are out of time. Hope to continue this discussion at another time. Clyde Williams, Dr. Nadine Spence, Daniel Archer, thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Blessed love.
Welcome. Have a good one.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
It's 4 minutes after 8.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
With Across Jamaica this morning, I'm Ricardo Brooks. Now 36-year-old Higgler Damian Lewis, otherwise called Jackfruit and Rasta of Mountain View Avenue, Kingston 2, has been charged with the murder of 27-year-old Shander Paul Williams of Rockingham Road, also in Kingston 2. The Central Police are reporting that on Monday, March 11, a verbal altercation developed between Lewis and Williams at about 9:10 in the morning along North Parade in downtown Kingston. The altercation became physical and knives were pulled. Williams stabbed Lewis in the abdomen after he was stabbed in the neck. Both men were transported to the hospital where Williams succumbed to the injury. Lewis was treated and admitted under police guard. He was released from hospital on Monday, March 25 and charged with murder. 37-year-old Jerome Reed, a farmer in Comapen District, St. Elizabeth, has been charged with the murder of 62-year-old Travi Powell, also a farmer of the same address. The police report that about 6 p.m. on Saturday, March 16, Reed and Powell were having a heated dispute when Reed used a stool to hit Powell in the head. Powell was taken to hospital where he was treated and admitted, but he succumbed to his injuries 2 days later. On Monday, March 25, Reed turned himself into the police and he was subsequently charged. A prisoner who has escaped custody at the Orocabessa police lockup in St. Mary on Thursday, he did escape custody on Thursday, December 21, 2023, has been apprehended. The fugitive, identified as 26-year-old Philip Williams, also known as Bo, from Belfield in St. Mary, was facing charges of shooting with intent. He, along with 6 other prisoners, escaped the lockup after using a hacksaw blade to create an opening in the metal ventilation system. Williams was nabbed during a targeted operation in the Guava Road area of Belfield in the parish yesterday. He was discovered sleeping under a house and was promptly taken into custody. The Falmouth police seized one 45mm Haskell pistol with 4 rounds of ammunition in Litchfield, Waitabit, Trelawney yesterday. Reports are that a police team was on operation when they searched a premises in Litchfield. The gun and ammunition was found wrapped in a white plastic bag. 1 man was arrested in connection with the find. The Jamaica Defence Force JDF will be conducting live firing exercises at the Green Bay Range in St. Catherine today and tomorrow. Residents in the area are being urged not to interfere with and or move caution signs or flags. The JDF is also advising residents that there is no need to be alarmed by the presence of soldiers during the exercise. However, they should secure their livestock during the period. The JDF says that in the event that unexploded ordnances or paraphernalia are found, residents are to report them to the JDF headquarters at telephone 876-926-8121-9. That's Across Jamaica this morning.
go crazy for this offer from Flow. Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for the special price of $4,999 plus GCT. Free is all the craze. This crazy offer won't last long. Visit discoverflow.co or your nearest Flow store for more info. Conditions apply.
Eliminate the hassle of managing multiple medications that can be confusing. Thanks to Houghton's Pharmacy. Introducing RX Pack, a mobile app available in the App Store and Google Play Store. RX Pack is specially designed for you to order and manage your medications. Download today for free. That's RX Pack for better medication management. Call 876-RX-0-RX-RX or visit our website houghtonsrx.com for more details.
A time to double up your savings. These are the boosts that you've been awaiting. Put it towards the dreams you've been chasing. Double up your savings. Double up.
Save so you can win in the Jan Bank Double Up Your Savings promotion. You could be one of 5 lucky quarterly winners to walk away with double the money you put in your savings account. Conditions apply.
Double up your savings.
Check our website and social media for details. Jan Bank will help you find a way. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Get a career in real estate with the Real Estate Training Institute. They offer exclusive training and certification in real estate sales, appraisals, and management. Fully customized course content on their MyReady online learning management platform. Flexible and convenient online delivery and affordable rates. Exposure to a wealth of knowledge and industry leaders who will boost your real estate career. Contact the Real Estate Training Institute at 876-633-1292 or 876-350-6761. The Real Estate Training Institute, where knowledge meets success.
Fit Nation is brought to you by Express Fitness 24/7. Your goal is our mission.
You wanna hot body? You want a Bugatti? You want a Maserati? You better work. You want a Lamborghini? Sip martinis, look hot in a bikini. You better work. You wanna live fancy, live in a big mansion, party in France. You better work. You better work.
And just before we get to Fit Nation, we had hoped to do this during the conversation, but we have been able to pull up the section as to what inspired the audits that was the subject of that conversation. So based on the reports from the Auditor General, her rationale, the special audit was undertaken in response to allegations of impropriety surrounding a lease agreement between TAJ and a private company. We planned and conducted our audit in accordance with the international standards of supreme audit institutions which support our special audit manual. And with respect to the FSC, a preliminary assessment was initiated by complaints feedback submitted by anonymous stakeholders alleging nepotism, conflicts of interest, and breaches in the human resources and procurement practices of the FSC. So based on both rationales given by the Auditor General, it would appear that this was on her own discretion and not by any affirmative resolution or request of the House of Representatives. And therefore, Tana, based on this, it would appear that Section 20...
These two special reports will be properly placed under the processes of Section 29
right,
of the Financial Administration and Audit Act.
And Section 29 says?
The Auditor General shall report annually as soon as possible and not later than the 31st day of December following the end of each financial year the results of his examination, provided that the Auditor General may at time, if it appears to him to be desirable, this is the important part, prepare a special report on any matter incidental to his powers and duties under this Act. And 2 says, every report of the Auditor General shall be addressed to the Speaker, who shall lay the report before the House of Representatives as soon as possible after its receipt by him.
Who shall?
Who shall.
It doesn't seem to give the Speaker discretion there. Well, so that's it. Yeah, and we just wanted to clarify that because we were trying to pull it up during the conversation. We're having a little bit of difficulty, but we got it. All right, so Fit Nation.
In Fit Nation today, we're looking at fitness for seniors. So experts say older adults should engage in moderate exercise and strength training each week. However, less than 1/3 meet this recommendation. So in Fit Nation today, we're talking about fitness for our more mature crowd. And my guest this morning for this discussion is the CEO of, hear this, Bikini Girl Fitness, Dan Brown. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I was over here jamming to the Britney work. I'm
wondering, Dan, I have, well, here we go.
Hey.
And then I have absolutely no idea when Nationwide thought of coming up with this segment, who chose this to be the theme song. Do you know Jermaine? Okay, so Jermaine King, the musical maestro, Dan, chose this Britney song for this segment. But thank you so much for joining us in Fit Nation this morning. And just before going to our topic about exercise for seniors, could you tell us some more about Bikini Girl Fitness? Is it that we're exercising in bikinis on the beach?
Well, that does sound fun, but not quite. So I am a personal trainer, but I'm also a bikini competitor.
Mm-hmm.
I started bodybuilding a year ago. So Bikini Girl Fitness is really teaching women how to build muscles, get toned, feel confident and strong in the gym. So that's pretty much what the program is about.
Okay, and this is an everyday thing, monthly?
So the program is actually fully online. We have virtual sessions, and I basically design your workout program. So whether you want to work out at 1 a.m., 3 p.m., it provides that flexibility, and it's just a great time.
Okay, so it's an online platform. Use that modality.
Mm-hmm.
You can access it at any
Right.
time. Where do we go?
Mm-hmm. So if you want to become a bikini girl, you can find me on Instagram at Diane, DIANNE.O.Brown, and all the information will be right there for you.
Okay. So now to our topic this morning, exercise for seniors. What are some of the benefits of seniors exercising?
I think for seniors especially, exercise brings such great benefits. So it's going to improve their cardiovascular health, strength and flexibility, their bone density, because, at that age, you're really thinking about your risk of osteoporosis, so that's something that's going to help that. It's going to aid in weight management and your metabolism, and helps reduce risks of chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, improves balance for those who are afraid of possibly falling. And I think for me, the most important benefit of exercise in general is the mood. You're going to be in a better mood. You're going to be more confident. You're going to feel better mentally. So those are some of the benefits that seniors can look out to for, starting an exercise regime.
Mm-hmm. And for seniors now listening and they want to find out what kind of workouts they should be engaging in, could you give us some examples? Is there things for beginners and then intermediate and advanced? What kind of workouts fit the different categories of persons?
Well, if you are a senior citizen, I think the first thing that you should do is make sure you consult your healthcare provider, and they can be able to give you a clear understanding of what exercises you'd be cleared for, what would be safest for you, because safety is definitely first. But something as simple as walking, that is a great exercise. You get out in the fresh air, you're going to feel amazing. Swimming is a really great one. Exercises that you can do on the chair. This is great for beginners, so you can do this at home. You have a nice chair. You can even just type into Google chair exercises for seniors. You'll see so many amazing examples. If you have some light weights or resistance bands, those are something that would be helpful as well. If you're more of an intermediate, doing that same walk, maybe holding some dumbbells in your hand, maybe walking a little faster, cycling, either at the gym or if you have a cycle at home, or actually riding a bike if you have that strength.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the things that I think some options that you could look out to depending on what level you are.
Mm-hmm. You have some seniors who might express, Dan, that they're afraid to fall and hurt themselves. Are there any kind of exercises, particularly for those persons who might have trouble, moving at a fast pace, running, cycling? What should they be engaging in?
Well, first,
especially if they're at home. If they're a homebody, they don't want to leave their home to go out on the road or to a gym or anything like that. What could they engage in?
So I was going to say I'm also afraid of falling. So
Me too.
That's you as well. Yoga is really, really great for helping you get centered and to balance yourself. So doing some yoga, Some single leg exercises, for example, you can hold on to a chair and kind of just reach down and touch your toe using standing on one leg. That's something that could be helpful. So strengthening both sides of the body individually will help you to build balance and strength. And that's something that can help prevent falls and just make you stronger overall.
Mm-hmm. What about persons who may have pre-existing medical conditions? Can they still exercise? Or you give them the same advice to go to their doctor first and
100%, 100%. And it really depends on what the issue is that you're having, but definitely get cleared by your doctor. They are going to be able to say, okay, you can do this, you can't do this. So that's definitely the first thing I would say before you start anything. And also, if you can, either have a family member or have a coach, somebody that's going to be there with you to monitor you in case you need additional assistance. That's something that would be really, really great. And then also listen to your body. So if you start an exercise regime and something feels off, you're feeling a weird pain, stop. Listen to what your body is telling you. And then kind of either find a substitute for that exercise or just take a break if you need it.
Yeah, and that's good advice whether you're young or old.
Definitely.
If you're doing something and it feels a bit funny, you're in pain, perhaps should stop.
Right. People think that you should be in pain, but I feel like you can tell when something is painful and uncomfortable. Exercise should not feel that way.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything that our seniors should be doing, Diane, before, during, and after exercising?
So before, make sure you warm up. Right, so a little light stretching, kind of preparing the muscles for what you're about to do, like some arm circles, just getting the body ready. During, again, listen to your body. Make sure that you're comfortable. Hydrate and take as many breaks as you need to. Like, you're not training for the Olympics. You can rest between your sets and just kind of work your way up to getting strong and being able to do more. And I would say after, again, do a bit of stretching, a bit of cooling down, to reduce your soreness, and then also make sure that you're fueling your body adequately after those workouts. So a nice meal of protein, some healthy carbs, some healthy fats, and that's my before, during, and after for seniors.
So just before we let you go, Dan, thank you so much again for joining us in Fit Nation. But for seniors listening, tell them the benefits again of exercising, even if it's just a little bit. They don't have to be advanced or even intermediate.
All right. So when you start exercising, I know when we get a little older, we have back pain, knee pain, all kinds of pain. Exercising actually helps to alleviate some of that. So you're going to feel stronger. You're going to feel more confident in your body. It's going to help with your heart health. Your heart is going to love you. It's going to enhance your overall strength and flexibility. It's going to reduce your risk of osteoporosis, right? So you're going to be able to move around a lot more. And most importantly, your mental health and well-being. You're going to be happier. You won't be crushing out your grandchildren, hopefully. So those are just some of the benefits that you can look out to.
And Dan, just before you go again, Bikini Girl Fitness, could you give us your contact information and where we can find you on socials?
So Bikini Girl Fitness, you can find me at Bikini Girl Fitness on Instagram. That's Bikini, Bikini, Girl, Gurl, Fitness, Fitness. You can find that on Instagram. Shoot me a message or just click the link to fill out the form to apply to become a Bikini Girl. And that's how you can reach me.
Founder and CEO of Bikini Girl Fitness. That's girl spelled Gurl. Diane Brown talking to us this morning in Fit Nation about fitness for seniors. Thank you so much, Diane.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we take a break and come back with more.
You better work. You want a Lamborghini? Sip martinis. Look hot in a bikini. You better work.
Fit Nation was brought to you by Express Fitness 24/7. Your goal is our mission.
The Jamaica Conch Cluster JCC has received a groundbreaking achievement in receiving the Marine Stewardship Council certification for the Jamaica Queen Conch. This means that the JCC can proudly bear the MSC logo, signaling commitment, sustainability, and profitability. Special thanks to the Government of Jamaica and its agencies and their implementation and funding partners, the Compete Caribbean Partnership Facility. For more information, visit the MSC website at www.fisheries.msc.org or contact them directly at conclusterjam@gmail.com.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and
Get a career in real estate with the Real Estate Training Institute. They offer exclusive training and certification in real estate sales, appraisals, and management. Fully customized course content on their MyReady online learning management platform. Flexible and convenient online delivery and affordable rates. Exposure to a wealth of knowledge and industry leaders who will boost your real estate career. Contact the Real Estate Training Institute at 876-633-1292 or 876-350-6761. The Real Estate Training Institute, where knowledge meets success.
There's a new gym on the block. Listen up, Portmore. Express Fitness is coming to the Big Buy Plaza. Get ready to sweat at our brand new location. And here's the best part. To celebrate, we're offering an unbeatable deal of only $1,000 for the first month. That's right. For only $1,000, you'll have access to state-of-the-art equipment and a community that's all about reaching your fitness goals. Don't miss out on this exclusive offer. Head down to Express Fitness at Big Buy Plaza in Portmore, where your journey to a better you begins.
Welcome to Inside Customs, brought to you by the Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Welcome again to Inside Customs here on Nationwide 90 FM, a production of NNN. Today we delve into another important aspect of the business of the Jamaica Customs Agency, the JCA. My name is George Davis. Speaking with me today is Chandelaine Davis, Senior Director, International and Industry Liaison at the Jamaica Customs Agency. Lady Chandelaine, good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
All right. Tell me about the Jamaica Customs Agency and its intention to accede to the International Convention on the Harmonized Commodity Description and Coding System. I think they call it HS Convention for short.
Yes, we do. So the International Convention on the Harmonized Commodity Description and Coding System is a global instrument used across several governments of the world. While we have 163 contracting parties, this instrument is used by 212 countries. And what it seeks to do is to harmonize the description of commodities so that in cross-border trade, we are using one language. And that, of course, simplifies trade as it pertains to goods. And so essentially, it is used by statistical institutions. It is used within the context of trade negotiations. It also facilitates the implementation of rules of origin regimes under international trade agreements as well. So it's foundational, I believe, to international trade and trade transaction as it informs the language of trade.
Now, people will say, especially from the layman perspective, that goods are goods. What is the difficulty in how goods are described that gives rise for an international system to codify said goods? Your response to that is what?
Okay. So goods are goods, but within various jurisdictions, other countries, they're otherwise called and named. So we call Otaiti apple, but it's rose apple in another jurisdiction. The way goods are used also differs. So in an attempt to streamline trade, it becomes necessary that there is a general and standardized understanding of what this good is. So what this convention seeks to do in its application is to devise and design a system of numbers that would be assigned to a commodity, and that is understood globally. Now, the way the system works at the global level, it works at the chapter level, which are up to two digits, the heading level, 4 digits, and then the subheading level at 6 digits. So it is harmonized across the globe at the 6-digit level. So we're all speaking the same language when it comes to how the good is classified. So right away, once we see a code, we know what good we are speaking about, irrespective of language, usage, creed.
Yes. When you said to me earlier about the intention to accede, I laughed to myself because I remember as a boy seeing these signs in bars all over Spanish Town. It is my intention to apply for a spirit license. No. The trade in spirits continued, and it was a roaring trade, but everybody had an intent to apply. I say that to ask, as the customs agency intends to accede, what is happening in the interim to facilitate this trade of goods?
Okay, so first of all, although we're not contracting parties currently, we're one of the 212 countries that utilize it.
Yes.
So we have been utilizing it in our administration as a customs entity. And what this does for us, the accession to the HS Convention accrues several benefits to the organization, and we are rightly positioned at this time to be able to meet the obligations under accession. So it will give us benefits such as technical assistance in the training of our staff, designing of our infrastructure with respect to the application and usage of the HS. It will also give us membership to what we call the Harmonized System Committee, the HS Committee of the World Customs Organization. And this committee meets to have these discussions regarding how to define, how to codify, how to categorize goods. And so it gives us a seat at the table where we can raise concerns that characterizes our industries and put forward our concerns, and we may be able to also vote and so get our voice in for the good of our trade and our industries.
So in this period where practically you've joined 200 and odd other countries to basically be speaking the language of this thing, but there's still an intention to accede as the official position. What organization audits these systems and processes of the customs agency to say, they are now ready to get full accession, they're ready to make that other giant step beyond intention to accede?
Well, the Jamaica Customs Agency, customs, we are the users of the nomenclature. We are the users of the HS in and of itself. So we would have done our own internal review as to readiness within the context of the convention itself. The convention would have outlined the obligations that would be borne out by the country acceding. And so we would have done our internal reviews. We would have done our regional reviews because, as you may or may not be aware, we're a part of the Caribbean community, and we're a customs union. So as such, we operate a common external tariff. And so we are bound by the common external tariff, which is predicated on the HS system as well. But with respect to implementation dates, we would then be restricted if there are any delays with respect to when CARICOM can implement the HS amendments. So we would have had to conduct our examination of the regional perspective, what's happening regionally, can we be adequately positioned to implement at the time required, as well as would we be able to publish with our Statistical Institute of Jamaica, be able to publish the requisite trade data in compliance with the 6-digit level HS codes as prescribed in the convention. So we would have done that internal review, done our gap analysis, and come to the conclusion that we are rightly positioned. If I may also add, the convention provides what we call special and differential treatment for developing countries. So it would give us the opportunity to delay our implementation by a specified period that we would notify to the World Customs Organization. So it gives us an amount of latitude for the various adjustments for us to be compliant.
And just for clarity, notwithstanding your association with CARICOM, you are not saying that you will move to full implementation in CARICOM as a group, Jamaica as an independent state. Jamaica's fate is up to itself. So it's Jamaica that will be acceding. While there are economic communities that accede, for instance, the European Union. Blocks,
CARICOM at this time would not be pursuing that kind of relationship or organization. So it is Jamaica that will be acceding.
And you know, for people who are hearing this discussion now and who may be familiar with ISO certification and what that meant about harmonizing
procedures and
practices, right? How different is this from that effort?
Well, the Rotel ISO certification was a long one for us, and it would have been far more comprehensive as we looked at the entire organization, all the processes. As it pertains to HS, the accession to the convention, it does not require that comprehensive look at all our processes and the comprehensive reform of all our processes and streamlining. In its most narrow focus, our industry liaison section, of which I am senior director, would have been largely compliant already with some of the tenets of the agreement. So the process was not as rigorous in terms of attaining the level of proficiency to qualify to accede.
Yes, and in terms of the training of your staff, you would say that the staff is what percentage, or where are you on the continuum from basic proficiency to mastery of the processes involved?
Well, I will say to you that it's a process of training and retraining. With each meeting of the HS committee, new knowledge is generated. As we have technological advances and the brilliant minds have to come together to formulate and design how they'll be codified, we are then made aware, and we'll have to reassess and come back to the drawing board. So it's a continuous process. And so we have internal peer training, because really and truly being the experts in the country, and we call on external training from time to time, periodically. And so we will also have customs to customs exchanges, customs agencies that are far more advanced globally. We do have knowledge exchanges. We do have our regional so within the World Customs Organization, we're divided into regions. And so regionally, we do conduct trainings in the various areas. And so we benefit from that. We benefit from international organizations coming on board and customs to customs exchanges.
Excellent, excellent. Lifelong learning, career-long learning is the message. Chandrine Davis, Senior Director, International Industry Liaison at the Jamaica Customs Agency. Thank you very much. Accession to the International Convention on the Harmonized Commodity Description and the Coding System, HS Convention, Jamaica is right with it. Thank you.
You're most welcome. It was my pleasure.
Excellent.
That was Inside Customs, brought to you by the Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:36.
Get up to $1 million off everything. With the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Price a slash save cash run, come catch the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Get up to $1 million off on your brand new Mitsubishi ASX or Pajero Sport with the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Plus 3 years warranty, 2 years free servicing, and 1 year free Amber Tracker. Follow us on social media at Mitsubishi JA for more info. Hurry up and come get this deal while stocks last. Only at Stewart's Automotive Group, South Camp Road, Kingston, and Iron Shorma Bay. Conditions apply.
Stand out among competitors. Show your commitment to quality. Submit your entry in the Bureau of Standards Jamaica National Quality Awards Program. Your entry provides the opportunity for a free comprehensive assessment of your organization's management system and facilitates improvement in effectiveness and efficiency. This prestigious award associates your organization with performance excellence. Step into a world of excellence. Gain access to international markets. Enter today.
Call 618-1534. The Bureau of Standards Jamaica, making standards work for you.
Hello? Yes, dear. But just a call for tell him to get the thing.
Nothing says Happy Easter like an Alliance MoneyGram money transfer.
And we get something sweet with it.
Pick up your Alliance MoneyGram money transfer of US $150 or more from March 18 to March 28th and get an Easter bun and cheese while stocks last at select locations.
Happy Easter to you too.
Remember, head to the sweetest location to pick up your MoneyGram money transfer this Easter.
Alliance!
A member of the Sagicor Group.
All Things Real Estate is brought to you by the Real Estate Training Institute, where knowledge meets success.
Get a career in real estate with the Real Estate Training Institute. They offer exclusive training and certification in real estate sales, appraisals, and management. Fully customized course content on their MyReady online learning management platform. Flexible and convenient online delivery and affordable rates. Exposure to a wealth of knowledge and industry leaders who will boost your real estate career. Contact the Real Estate Training Institute at 876-633-1292 or 876-350-6761. the Real Estate Training Institute, where knowledge meets success.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. It's now time for all things real estate. This morning we're focusing on pre-licensing and re-registration of developments. My guest today is Legal Officer at the Real Estate Board, Jared Johnson. Welcome back to the program, Jared.
Yes, it's good to be back.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning for the segment All Things Real Estate. So first of all, talk to us about this pre-licensing and re-registration of developments. What is that about?
Yes, so it's almost the end of the 23-24 financial year. So the time is upon us now for a new renewal period as it relates to our real estate practitioners in Jamaica. For real estate dealers and salesmen who are registered with the Real Estate Board, they are required to pay their license fees for the 2024 to 2025 period now. And the reason for that is because the Real Estate Dealers and Developers Act, or the REDA, as it's commonly known, mandates that license fees are payable in each year on the 1st of April, which will coincide with the beginning of the government financial year. And all license fees for those practitioners ought to be paid on or before that date. And that fee is currently $22,000 for real estate salesmen and $44,000 for real estate dealers. And that fee will cover the whole year of practice up until the 31st of March 2025. Additionally, there is also an option to pay the license fees in 2 equal installments, so 50% now and 50% later. So how that would work is for salesmen, you may opt to pay $11,000 by the 1st of April and another $11,000 on or before the 1st of September 2024. And for dealers, the same thing would apply, but it would be $22,000 now and $22,000 at the beginning of September this year. Now, your very observant listeners, perhaps looking at their calendars, will know that this year, the 1st of April happens to be a holiday.
Yes.
So effectively, the fees for practitioners are to be paid on or before the 2nd of April, which would be next week, Tuesday. And now, just to let you know, the framers of the REDA would have recognized that in each year, dealers and salesmen might need a bit more time to perhaps get their house in order in terms of getting the fees together. So practitioners are actually allowed an additional 30 days within which to pay their license fees without any penalty. And that would take us right up to the end of April, essentially.
Right.
However, if salesmen and dealers do not pay their fees on or before the beginning of May this year, after the 30-day grace period has expired, they will have to pay 100% penalty in addition to the usual fees. So effectively, that would double the fee that they would need to pay in order to get their license.
Okay.
So
and just remind us of the 2 fees again.
Yes, so exactly. And what that really tells you...
Just before you go on, Jared, remind us of the 2 fees.
Oh, yes. So for salesmen, it's $22,000 for the full year. And for real estate dealers, it would be $44,000.
Okay. So that doubles basically if they...
Yes, so that 100% penalty would be incurred if after the 30-day grace period we're still not in receipt of the licensing fees. So in order to get your license, you would then have to pay the original fee plus 100% penalty. And what that really tells you, is that there's no use waiting. Since the fees can be paid right now, there's no real need for our practitioners to delay their payments, beyond next week. It's really to ensure that you're in compliance with the legislation so you can avoid all the unnecessary stress and penalties down the line.
Yeah. And where do they pay? And is it they can use an online platform? They have to go into a particular location? What are the avenues open to them to pay?
So in relation to the payment methods, for our real estate dealers and salesmen, we have a very convenient online option. That is our online client portal, which is exclusive for payment of the licensing fees for dealers and salesmen. You can access that at client portal, one word, .reb.gov.jm. And what that does, it allows our practitioners to make their payments directly online using their card details. And when you use the portal, it's a simple sign up in terms of putting in your email address. It's a very quick and easy process. And you can actually even make multiple payments in one go. So, for example, you can pay for another person's fees simultaneously as long as you have all the information. And you'll get your receipt to your email right away. So we find that's the most preferred and most convenient way for our practitioners to pay. They can do it from the comfort of their home. But there's also alternative methods. So, for example, you can come and visit us at our office at 24 Trafalgar Road in Kingston, where you can certainly pay via cash, card, or manager's check. And also for those persons who might have NCB or Scotiabank accounts, you can even set up online bill payments for your license fees. And the relevant details for that you can find online at our website at rev.gov.jm.
Yeah. And Jared, what if it is that I have missed the April 2 deadline, then I've not bothered to pay attention to the grace period, which goes up to what, April 30, you said?
Yes.
Right. So I've missed all of those opportunities that I had to pay. What next happens if it is that I'm found out to still be practicing?
So that's a very good question. And it's a question that we get asked often. So for example, persons will, perhaps not pay on or before the 2nd of April. And then, the penalty won't incur until May. So they're wondering, what happens in the interim? Are they allowed to practice in the interim? And the answer to that is quite simple. The answer is no. The Real Estate Dealers and Developers Act provides that real estate dealers and salesmen are only permitted to practice real estate business if they're the holder of a valid license. So it really comes down to a matter of compliance. Because really and truly the licenses that our practitioners would have been issued for last year would all have a final expiration date of the 31st of March this year. So beyond that, if you haven't paid your fees and gotten your new license issued to you, you would technically be operating without a license. And that is concerning for a number of reasons. Firstly, practicing without a current or valid license is of course an offense under the Act. But also, even for your own benefit under a transaction or a deal that you might have worked on or closing the time, if one party to that transaction decides that they're going to short you on your commission or perhaps even withhold it altogether, you might run into problems enforcing that part of your agreement, which is that you're without a license at the time, you would have been practicing real estate. So there are things that are very important to keep in mind, and it shows you that there's no use in delaying. It's best to pay the fees on time and ensure that you hold a current license for the upcoming year.
Right. So, and just before we let you go, Jared, to remind us of the timeline for paying their fees and how much it is and where they can pay.
Definitely. So, on or before the 2nd of April this year is when all fees should be paid, or by which all fees should be paid. Now, once April is done, so 30 days after when the fees are due, if dealers and salesmen have still not paid their license fees, they will have to pay 100% penalty on the fees. And those fees are for salesmen, $22,000, and for real estate dealers, $44,000. And there's also an option, as I said, in order to pay in equal installments. So, if you're a salesman, you can pay the $11,000 now, $11,000 at the beginning of September. For dealers, $22,000 now, $22,000 at the beginning of September.
And so that's the timeline and the amount that they should pay, and remind us of the methods available to them to pay.
Certainly. So the method, you have the online client portal, which is clientportal.rev.gov.jm. And you can make all your payments online with credit or debit card. You can also come into 24 Trafalgar Road, pay via cash, card, or manager's check. For those who have NCB and Scotia, you can set up online bill payment. And to get that information, you can check our website at rev.gov.jm. Are there any further questions? Persons can always send us an email at info@rev.gov.jm or RHD support at rev.gov.jm, or you can call us at 876-926-9748 tonight.
Yeah. And for our YouTuber Kirk, I believe that answers your question. He was asking Jared if fees can be paid online. You answered that question. Thank you so much, Jared, legal officer at the Real Estate Board, for speaking with us this morning, focusing on pre-licensing and re-registration of developments in all things real estate. You were very helpful.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
Gonna go to a break and come back with your birthdays and your anniversaries.
All Things Real Estate was brought to you by the Real Estate Training Institute, where knowledge meets success.
Yes, me get the last cheese. Taste the beat. Brothers and sisters, at the end of Easter service, we have cheese. Taste the beat. But one day we get no bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Serve, sell me some bun and cheese. Taste the beat. Why, this will go nice with some tasty cheese. Taste the beat. Could I have some cheese, please? Taste the beat. Make we get on real bad with the tasty cheese, boy. Tasty beat with tasty cheese.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less,
or two or three,
at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure.
The solution is simple, right? Act now.
Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
You close, where you can stay forever. You can be sure that it will only get better. You and me together through the days and nights. I don't worry 'cause everything's gonna be alright. People keep talking, they can say what they like, but all I know is everything's gonna be alright. And no one can get in the way of what I'm feeling. No one can get in the way of what I feel for you. Get in the way of what I feel for you. When the rain is pouring down.
It's that time of the morning when we tell some very, very special people happy birthday and happy anniversary. Over on YouTube, Carlene Smith, my friend, hey to you, Carlene, is sending happy birthday greetings to her sister, Primrose. Happy birthday to you, Primrose, from your sister, Carlene Smith. Hope you have a good day. Islander 1 JM is sending happy birthday greetings to Patricia Robotham. Happy birthday to Patricia from Islander 1 JM, saying to you, enjoy your days. Happy birthday to you. Over on Facebook, happy birthday to Marlon Thompson, Keisha Williams, Kevin Dunn, Anastasia Scott, Persia Asset Perry. Happy birthday as well to Jelaine Clark, Owen Cross, Chanel Smith. Happy birthday as well to Lisa Bell Clem, Renisha Eccleston, Rochelle Williams. And it's the birthday of Dahlia Harris. Happy birthday to you, Dahlia. Hope you have a really good one as well. Yeah. Going on over to YouTube again to see if there's anybody else celebrating their birthday today or their anniversary. Not seeing any other, but they're telling my YouTubers are telling me that it's Carlene's YouTuber sister, so it's not her biological sister. Carlene, clarify for me. But happy birthday to her, Primrose. Oh, I see. Oh, I get it. No, I'm seeing Primrose in the chat. Happy birthday again, Primrose. I see you. Happy birthday to our YouTuber Primrose. Again, hope you have a really, really, really good day.
Get in the way of what
some more before I go. Miriam Woodburn is sending happy birthday greetings to Andrew Bent from Cross Keys. Happy birthday to you, Andrew, from Miriam Woodburn. And Glenn also sending happy birthday greetings to Primrose, our YouTuber, wishing her health, wealth, happiness, and prosperity. Gloria Thomas sending happy birthday greetings to girlfriend Monica. She says, enjoy your day. And I see lots more greetings coming in for Primrose. Happy birthday to you, Prim. But that's all for the birthdays. Happy birthday to you if you're celebrating your birthday today. And if you're celebrating your anniversary, happy anniversary to you as well. And that's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide This Morning. NTM, the big show. Thanks so much to our technical operator and the musical maestro, Jermaine King. Our producer this morning was Norgay Banton. But hey to our resident producer, Michelle McCrae-Smith, who's not in today. Thank you so much, Nora. Thanks as well to our editor, Cara Powell, Deputy Executive Editor, George Davis, my co-host, Ricardo Brooks, Cardo, who stepped out at 8. Thank you so much, Cardo. And thanks to all of you who make NTM possible. I'm Tana Thomas. Up next, you have the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton at 10, Cliff Hughes Online. Good morning to you.
Some nights I stay up, cashing in my bad luck. Some nights I call it a draw. Some nights I
You
wish
just heard
that
Nationwide
my
this
life
morning
could
on
build a
Nationwide
castle.
90 FM.
Some nights I wish they just fall off. But I still wake up, I still see your ghost. Oh Lord, I'm still not sure what I stand for. Oh, what do I stand for? What do I stand for? Most nights I don't know anymore.